Welcome to the ClevelandMoto Podcast.
Hey guys, it's ClevelandMoto Podcast, episode number 543. Light 'em up, boys! And tonight we have a very, very cool guest star on our podcast tonight. To my immediate left, we have
Sean Noel.
And to his left,
Dan Krupke.
And behind the boards tonight,
Steve Sleepy.
And to his left,
Johnny Mac.
And coming around the corner,
Speedy Pete.
And holding down the other end of the table,
Shanky Smith.
Excellent. And behind the bar today,
Tom Pennington.
We have got a full house because anytime we have a special guest, we tend to get a full house. Extremely exciting to have Graham Sykes with us tonight on the podcast. Graham is a legend of the Santa Pod Raceway because he runs a motorcycle that doesn't run on gasoline. It doesn't run on diesel. It doesn't run on JP4 or JP5.
No electrons.
It runs on steam.
Would you like to see it?
Yeah, go ahead and throw a picture of it up there.
Well, we're going to watch a whole run.
You're going to watch the run. Go ahead. Fire it up.
So you need to pre-stage, and give us the nod, and that's when we know. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh my God.
And just gone.
Wow.
Just a memory.
And that was it. So, hey, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, 5.8 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
That is great.
How are you doing?
Oh, man, we are so happy to have you on the podcast tonight. This is super cool.
We just watched you go down the track. I think it was one of your 5-second runs, so I think it was a quarter mile, and that was insane.
Yeah, that will have been sort of late last year. Yeah, we've been slowly ramping it up, and we got into the fives around middle of the year last year.
I mean, there is zero delay. As soon as the steam leaves the nozzle, it's gone.
Yeah, from pressing the button to actually registering a speed on the data login, it's 100 milliseconds, 0.1 of a second. Yeah.
Wow.
And the biggest G-force that we see is in the first 0.2. So the biggest we've seen to date is 6.8 G.
Oof.
Whoa. That's kid stuff.
Oh,
I know, we must try harder.
So I have to know something. So
I pulled 9.2.
I want to know when was the first day that you were like, I need to ride a rocket? Like, how did this come about? Like, it's not like this happens every week or anything like that. Like,
yeah, it's a good question. I'm an engineer. I've always been intrigued with going fast, and not just fast. And when I was a lad, a young kid, I used to follow Evel Knievel. He was big all over the world, not just in US. He was a legend, and they played his live jump over Snake River Canyon on our television live. He would never do it now because of the liabilities. And I was intrigued because he said it was powered by steam. So I went to the library and started looking up steam-powered rockets. And there wasn't the internet then, and it was difficult to try and get information. But I found more of a white paper written by a guy called Bob Truax, who was a early developer of steam-powered rockets. And I read about it and just found it very intriguing, and I put it to bed, back of my head. And then many years later, obviously I've been watching in Europe the rocket bikes like Henk Vink, a famous Dutch guy, and Eric Taboul, and of course Sammy Miller, Slamming Sammy, who used to run in the States, ended up coming over to the UK. And so I want to ride a rocket bike, but no one's going to come and say, "Hey Graham, do you want to ride my rocket bike?" So I thought, well, let's have a go at building one. But I looked into it. I thought, let's have a look at peroxide, but it comes with its problems, as does any rocket. There's no such thing as a safe rocket, but you can try and mitigate danger. And in fairness, it all got triggered because we were looking after a jet car. A friend of ours has a jet car, and we were in France, a European meeting, and pitted next to us was a crazy Frenchman, and he'd built a steam-powered scooter, and this thing was so hot. You put it on you could only describe it as a barbecue. And they put it on a barbecue, and there's flames coming around it, and they're having to douse water over the wheel bearings because grease is coming out the seals. And then they took it off the barbecue with big gloves, and they wheeled it to the line, and they just went 3, 2, 1, allez, and he ran like hell with it and jumped on it because there's no seat, he just had running boards, and he disappeared.
Oh my God.
And ran 130 miles an hour just in his race suit. He didn't even have leathers on.
Oh, God.
I thought, this has got to be done properly.
Right.
And that's how it started.
Wow.
That's just mental. And so I'm looking at your bike, and your bike is just a spaceship. So there's really, calling this a motorcycle is the longest stretch I've ever seen, because there's not a single part that I can look at on your bike that is like traditional. You're not running a traditional front fork at all. You're running a center hub steering system, and every part looks bespoke on this entire motorcycle. It's not like you just grabbed a Hayabusa and did a motor transplant. This is bonkers.
Well, when your life's at risk and you really are taking calculated risks, as an engineer, you've got to look at each component and design it so that it's best engineered. And picking things off the shelf and going down the scrapyard and building things out of parts that are already designed for another purpose isn't the way forward. So you look at each component and say, right, what's the best way of designing this for its job? And because we don't have a chassis, there's no frame. The actual pressure vessel is effectively the frame, even though there's no welding, no lugs or anything welded to it, because the whole thing expands and contracts. So we've got a space frame around the pressure vessel, and you've got 2 subframes, one at the rear, one at the front, and they're machined from solid. So because we haven't got a framework as such, putting a headstock for holding conventional telescopic forks is quite a problem. So looking at hub center steering, I'm quite partial to it anyway because it's a bit off the wall. But for this application, it's really lends itself well because we can mount the front fairing on the front forks so that we don't compress the suspension with aerodynamic load. So all that aerodynamic force goes straight into the tyre, which is where it wants to be.
Oh, that's
because
brilliant.
One of the biggest problems I've got is flying, and I do not want to fly. So we've got to generate downforce.
You know how this makes me so happy? I work for Summit Racing, and I talk to a lot of people that have amazing race cars, and they have amazing things, and you ask them about them, and they're like, I don't know, I just drive it.
Right.
So it's so refreshing to hear that you are like the guy. Like you built this, you designed it. So do you have a team that worked with you on all this?
Yeah, it's pretty much Diane and myself. This is Diane.
Hey, Diane.
Hi, Diane.
29 years and counting. So
congratulations.
I'm doing something right.
Love it.
Yeah, so you've got to have a good relationship with your partner. You can't just do it on your own. This is my life, and I'm very fortunate. Yeah, it's Diane's life as well. But it's very fortunate that we've got that, and then we've got 3 in the team. When we first started with the idea of building this bike, we thought Diane and myself would just be able to run it ourselves. But it's so in depth, and there's such a system that you've got to follow to bring the temperature up nice and steady, so you don't get a runaway. We monitor the pressure and temperatures every 10 minutes.
So that was my next question: is are you able to heat? So what temperature are you boiling the water up to? What temperature is your optimal temperature? When you're converting to steam?
Right. Well, to get the maximum energy out of water, you need to be above 250 degrees C. So that's 482 Fahrenheit. The energy just isn't there because the energy is the temperature. It's not the pressure. But to get the temperature, you need the pressure to stop it boiling. So we don't boil the water up, we just heat the water up, and it stays water right until the very end of the nozzle, and then it flashes to steam in the choke of the Delaval nozzle.
That was going to be
that point.
The nozzle technology is just incredible, because this idea of having such a rapid expanse. I mean, your moment of incident is like 1/1000th of a second. that you're having all of this pressure turning from something that is very stable, this pressurized, like a car radiator. It's very stabilized until it's not.
Boy, that happens to me about every morning about 7 o'clock.
Well, and I also have a question. So I'm pretty familiar with drag tracks. I'm there quite a bit with my work. How do you heat this? Is it something you drag? I saw the picture you called the spaceship or the whatever.
The mothership.
Mothership.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mothership. Yeah.
Is that what's heating this unit?
Yeah. So because we're exhibition drag race meetings, we've got to fit in with a schedule, and what a schedule is like at drag racing meeting. It's very flexible. Nothing ever happens early. It's always 2 hours late.
Yeah.
So we always say hurry up and wait. So they call you, and then 2 hours later you're in the pairing lanes. You say, well, why did they call us 2 hours early? So we've got all that to put up with. So we looked long and hard at the best way of having this flexibility to be able to keep the pressure vessel at its optimum pressure and temperature. So we use kerosene or HVO, hydrogenated vegetable oil. Depends how green we want to be. So we've got a kerosene burner which burns at 44 kilowatts. That's 150,000 BTUs. But we bring that up. We bring the water up slowly, so it takes between 3 and 4 hours. And we do that on purpose so that we don't thermally shock anything. And we keep things that should be hot, and keep things that should be cool. So the actual pressure vessel is thermally isolated from the rest of the bike. We use a special plastic called PEEK. I don't know what you call it in America, but it's polyether ether ketone. It's quite an exotic polymer. And that's a real good insulator. So that tends to keep the hot water hot in the pressure vessel. The pressure vessel is ceramic coated, and then it's ceramic insulated with 2 inches of soft ceramic, and then it goes into an aluminiumized glass fiber bag which is velcro together. So we've got great thermal efficiency.
Yeah, so
because that's power.
This is a water heater laying down.
But how do you get?
That's right.
But so it's so well insulated. But then how do you heat it? Is there how does the fire go through the middle of it somehow, or I don't? Are there
It's
tubes?
just like a
a locomotive.
steam
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So why try invent something that's already been invented? So for over 100 years they've been making steam locomotives using fire tubes.
Right.
And I did a lot of research into fire tubes because unfortunately fire tubes are heavy, and they also take up a lot of volume, which is water. So the more fire tubes you have to make it more efficient, the less volume of water you've got the capacity to carry, and the heavier the bloody bike is.
Yeah.
So we came up with an optimal area to surface area, and so we've down to 4 tubes. So we have 4 2-inch tubes, which are schedule 40 in thickness, and down those tubes we have things called turbulators.
Yes.
Now they work just as well as they sound. They're really good. You can get over 100% more efficiency out of the burner tubes.
Really?
But because the burner tubes are long and thin, they're disproportionate to the optimum a burner tube could be, because they're very long. They're nearly 6 foot long, 2 inches long. So you get a lot of pressure drop between the pressure going in and the pressure coming out, which is bad because you don't get full heat transfer down the burner tube. So we use a specially designed turbulator designed by a company that do nothing but turbulators. And when we got in touch with them, they thought we were absolutely crackers. And they said, well, come on board. So they've been helping us right from day one. And
you said we are, but we'd still want to do this anyway.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. You're not going to stop us. So they work really well. So we have an L-shaped firebox in the mothership, and the bike lowers down hydraulically onto it. And underneath the bike, there's the entry into the input manifold, which then goes into the burner tubes and then out through 2 exhausts at the rear. The firebox is L-shaped because the flame from the burner is in the bottom of the L, so to speak, and then the hot gas comes up through the top. So we don't have the stoichiometric temperature of kerosene, which is over 2,000 degrees, because stainless steel, the whole thing's made out of 316 stainless steel, and that oxidizes at 800 degrees. So you can't go above 800 degrees. So we tend to keep around about 600. So we have 2 thermocouples, one in the front manifold and one in the rear, and we can work out what the delta T is. So from that, we can then work out what our thermal efficiency is, our heat input.
I've pulled a picture up of the mothership so the folks at home can take a look at it. And we can see sort of the chimney on the front of the mothership that comes down under what would be right behind the front wheel on the motorcycle. And
that's the input. Yeah.
That's the input. And so you've got a burner system set up in that mothership that's pushing heat through the inside of your pressure vessel, through those fire tubes, those heat tubes. And you're doing this right up until just before the launch of the bike. Is that correct?
We take the bike to the line on the mothership.
Okay.
And then we ceremoniously undock it. It's quite when we do runs in the evening, which is really spectacular, it's all lit up as well.
Yeah, the one we've got is a night run at Santa Pod, and it's definitely super cool. Here in Ohio, we have there was a very famous explosion of a steam locomotive where the boiler went up, and the fire tubes are just everywhere. They look like a cat's whiskers. They're they're splayed out all over the place, hundreds and hundreds of tubes. And you can tell by the image, just the force involved when that steam locomotive exploded. Really, absolutely wild how much pressure there is and how much strength, power there is behind that steam when it decides to not behave anymore.
Well, we've got a big advantage over a steam locomotive because we're not running on coal.
Yeah,
we're running on kerosene, so we can control the temperature a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
With a little microprocessor that controls the temperature, and we can hold it to within 1 degree.
So I'm imagining this is just like a giant kerosene blowtorch. That's it. That's pretty much doing it. Yeah. The sort of thing that you have your central heating at home. Yeah.
So
it's nothing fancy.
You have this engineering background, so you know exactly what you built. You know the materials are there. I'm sure you have it. You know that everything about this whole unit. That being said, the first time you climbed on this thing and was going to release the button, what was that like? That had to be something otherworldly.
I questioned myself and thought,
well, the prototype
was, and I said, just press the button.
Well, do you have any way to throttle the power at all, or is it button on?
No.
Is it on off?
Yeah, it's on off, but it does come off, so it comes off the power just as quick as it goes on.
Okay.
And so that was my next question is, you've got, I'm not an engineer, but I know that when you have one source of thrust, you have one source of thrust, but you have two sources of thrust. And it seems to me that if one of those valves or one of those nozzles would be even off a blonde one, that you'd be going the wrong way down the track.
Well, yeah, it's your enemy is asymmetric thrust.
Asymmetric not thrust is the nicest way to say it I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. It's also called holy shit.
Yeah.
But,
you have the asymmetric thrust, and then you have a thermal event.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I threw my back out that way.
Well, because running a bike as a rocket, you've got a problem because you've got a rear wheel in the way of where the nozzle really needs to be. You can't go above it because the thrust line's too high, and you can't go below. You can't go around the side of it because you can't have any deviation in the thruster tube because you get differential in speeds and then you get cavitation in the water. So it's got to be dead straight.
Yeah. So where do the two nozzles split off? There's only one tank. It's not a separate tank, correct?
No, we've got one tank and then we've got two outlets in one tank.
Okay.
So it's effectively two rocket motors with one single fuel source.
Gotcha.
If you've ever seen the video or the Mythbusters episode of where they put the JATO rockets on top of the Impala, you'll understand immediately why you don't want to have your thrust high above the rear axle because it tends to want to fly, right? And so it's just watching this bike go down the track. It's just pin straight. It's absolutely perfect. I mean, I've watched 1,200 horsepower cars and motorcycles go down the track, and it always looks like there's some corrections happening during the run. This thing, it just looks like it is as a bullet.
Well, let me ask you.
Well, yeah, you can steer it, and you've got to put input into it. Like anything else, you're doing micro corrections all the time. But I must say, it's one of the easiest bikes I've ever ridden, and I've ridden some Larry bikes. And I was talking to an ex-rocket car driver, and he said, Graham, when you ride this bike in earnest, you will be surprised just how smooth it is.
Well, you're taking traction out of the equation.
Yeah,
right.
You don't have to rely on traction to propel you.
What kind of tires are you running? Are you just running speed-rated tires? Because that doesn't even matter that much, right? I mean,
I run front runners off Top Fuel dragster.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So just
because they can take the centrifugal force and they can take the RPM, the miles per hour.
Right on.
Yeah.
How many?
I think I buy them from Summit.
I'm going to talk to you about that anyways. I got some guys I might introduce you to a little bit later.
So can I ask you, how many iterations of the bike have you gone through so far?
2026, this year will be iteration number 5.
Oh. And can you explain some of the step-ups in your iterations?
Yeah, well, we started off with a little vessel, just a little 50-litre vessel, because we didn't quite know what we were playing with. Prior to riding it, I wanted to make sure that the valves would close, and we couldn't get any valves to work. And we had a little test rig in the workshop, and we opened the doors and blew it out into the yard. And it was just up against the load cell, so we had crude data logging, so we were logging load versus time, so we could get a nice graph to see where our specific impulse was. Unfortunately, our neighbours didn't think that it was a good idea, especially when we blew all the gutters and the faucets off the shed the opposite, and it went to next door but one's tree. And I had to get Diane to go around and ask because I was too scared myself.
Hey, mister, can we have a back, please?
Yeah.
Love it.
So, but we couldn't get any valves to close, so they would either fail in two states. They either failed fully open, which is bad, or they failed fully closed, which makes you look like a fool. So it took nearly 4 years to get some valves to work. And in the end, I said, no, I'm just going to make my own valves. Wow. So I made my own valves, and they worked, but they opened too slowly. So we lost lots of impulse because the opening was too slow. And I put this on my Facebook page, and this guy contacted me, a chap called John Allen Hudson. And he said, beautifully engineered valves, but why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? And I said, well, I can't find any valves that work. He said, well, have you tried a butterfly valve? And I said, a butterfly valve? He said, yeah, we used to use them on the peroxide rockets all the time. They worked really well. So I investigated a valve called the Zurich valve. And once we put those on, John was from Texas. He said, I've got some here, I'll send you some photographs. So
we have those at the wastewater plant.
Yeah.
So nothing fancy, but the problem with them is they're too restrictive because the butterfly's in the way. And secondly, it's metal to metal is a seat. So it's only category 4. So you're never going to get a bubble tight seal. And if you don't have a bubble tight seal, you can't get the pressure, and then you can't get the temperature. So you're fighting all the time. And of course, you're losing your fuel because it's dripping out. Even though it looks spectacular when you got the line because you've got wisps of steam coming out the back, which is quite sexy, but it's not good for going fast. So in the end, we found another valve which works, and now we're making our own seats. So we found a company in this country, in the UK, that makes a polymer to our specification. And we can get around about 7 to 8 runs out of the set of seats, which is very good when you think what they're doing. And so, prior to that, we were having to buy these seats from Norway, but Norway wouldn't deal with me because I'm just a crazy guy in a shed.
Crackers, you said.
Yeah, I'm crackers, yeah. And, I'm not a big oil company.
Right.
So I had to buy them through a company in America and then they shipped them to me. So I was having to pay loads of duty, and they were getting really expensive. So they were lasting around about 3 runs. It was around about £400 a run just in seats. Yeah, we had to think long and hard. Because I'm from Yorkshire and we're notoriously tight.
What destroys the seats? I mean, what messes them up so bad?
Temperature.
Yeah.
Because they're a polymer. It's a PTFE based polymer. They tend to distort. And of course, you've got 2 seats in a ball valve. You've got the upstream seat and you've got the downstream seat. But they're doing 2 different jobs in this application because it's only unidirectional. So the upstream seat is guiding the ball, but it's seeing all the temperature. But the downstream seat is seating with the ball being pressed because of the water pressure up against it, and it becomes distorted. So the quicker you can open them, the less exposure it's got to the water. Because when it's in its closed state, the valve body and the ball is taking the temperature away from the seat, just like a valve sitting into a head. But when it's in its transient position between its fully closed and fully open state, then it's got the full might of that water rushing past it, just supersonic speeds and at massive temperatures. And that's where the damage occurs because they're not supported. So the quicker we can open and close the valve, the better.
We have people from all over the country, Australia and everything in the chats, and they're asking questions. What is the PSI coming out of the back of that thing when you went down the track? You might have covered it, but they missed it on the chat.
I can't tell you what the PSI coming out the track, out of the nozzle is because we don't measure it.
You can't.
But the way a de-level nozzle works is that it converts high pressure, high temperature, low velocity water into low temperature, low pressure, high velocity steam. So the pressure will be quite low. The temperature going into the nozzle is 250 degrees and coming out it's 40 degrees because the energy of the temperature has been converted to thrust.
And that's happening instantly. But that's another thing that when you think about that vector, you're changing 400 degrees in an instant. So you think about the expansion contraction of different materials that you're working through. It's just got to be a crazy. I mean, this is space shuttle level. It's always the fail point is people are like, oh, this will work, but then you change the temperature by 20 degrees centigrade, and all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore.
So it's more like a leaf blower than an air compressor. It's more volume than actual pressure.
Yeah, well, water expands. It depends on where you are in altitude, but between 1620 and 1700 to 1, and that's where the power is. So the Newton's third law, which is equal and opposite reaction to an action, pushes you in the opposite direction. And water is heavier than air, but when it's converted to steam is lighter than air. So a cubic meter I'll go metric because I'm not an imperial person, but 1 cubic meter of air is 1.2 kilograms, is around about a pound. But when you fill it with steam, it reduces by around about 20%. But we're taking that atmosphere with us as we go down the track. So we're pushing against a constant.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty
the more
amazing.
you think about this, the more common sense it actually is.
Now,
it's just pulling it off.
Let me ask you this. So you do both 1/8 mile and quarter. How much of a difference is it for you to do those two? Is there a different setup procedure? Is there a different amount of water that goes in, or is it just all in your hand and that's it, just shutting it off and on?
Because last year we were only running 88 litres of water, that's 23 gallons. We were passing 23 gallons in under 2 seconds out of the nozzles.
Wow.
So you can just see how much impulse we're producing. And because of that, we were running out of power around about 320 foot.
Yeah.
Wow. Sometimes a little bit earlier.
That was, how long are you actually on the thrust? Yeah.
Yeah, so 1.9 seconds. So that was, that's 16th of a mile. So even in the 8th, we're coasting for half of it.
Right.
And the best 8th we've run is 3.1.
Wow.
So that is, I mean, that's terrific.
That's John Force on a quarter.
Right. And that's
No, it's quicker. That's quicker than John.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it is. It's quick. It's quicker.
Oh my God.
So I got a question. We've seen the times going down the track. How is it around town?
It's not very good in traffic jams.
Oh man,
Not for the guy behind you.
He's got a clean windshield.
Clean everything.
That's like the Y2K bike, was famous for melting people's grills.
Oh God, the jet-powered bike.
Yeah.
My another question is, when you see, like, you compare like to steam-powered catapults on aircraft carriers, and other things where thrust is important, they usually are running with a backstop. And I noticed you don't have any sort of a backstop here. Would that affect the speed of the vehicle if you were launching against a backstop? Because that idea.
Yes, it would. Yeah,
fixed, a fixed object as opposed to just blowing in the wind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it would work. So it would repel, the object behind you would repel equally to the amount of force you put against it. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they don't have those at drag strips.
Have you ever tried it?
I don't think. Ironically, unbeknown to me, because I'm not looking behind. I don't have any rear view mirrors.
Maybe you could launch that thing off of an aircraft carrier,
or an airport.
Well, the braking area is pretty wet. But we were up in Scotland at a place called Campbelltown. It's an old USA base. Yeah. And it's absolutely superb. And we went there to try and run a 5-second quarter because it was slightly downhill and you normally get a tailwind. But we've since found out that we run slow with a tailwind. We run better into a headwind.
Oh.
And I can explain it later. But we went to Campbelltown, but it's like a pop-up drag strip. Mm-hmm. So there's wires and cables everywhere. So the organizer thought it'd be a good idea to drive one of the van's tires over the wires behind me so they didn't blow it away. But they were about 30 foot behind me. And I really damaged the van.
Hell of a good run.
It was all right. Yeah, it was all right. It was a 590, So we had to do it again without the van to make sure we didn't get any assistance. So we ran another 5. But it cost me around about $1,000 in repairs.
So when you release that button, like I know, like I've been riding fast bikes, whatever. And when you get up in the faster realm of stuff, it seems like things slow down. But you're talking about shooting yourself forward in a ridiculous amount of speed. Does everything just slow down for you? Are you able to kind of like the thoughts to pick things out on the track, or is it just booming over?
Yeah, you're right. Things do slow down, and you're definitely concentrating. People say you're in the zone, and I don't know whether I like that saying or not. I think that you're just on your job, and if you haven't got the ability to do it, then you shouldn't be riding it. And the most frightening part about it is in the pairing lanes. It's the what might happen. It's the prelude, the anticipation. But as soon as the bike's on the track and it's wheeled to the line, got a job to do. Yeah, that's it. I've got a job to do, and I know what I've got to do. And I've developed a riding style, which is not a conventional way of riding a bike. Normally, something that accelerates fast, you hang on to the handlebars and you pull on the bars. But by pulling on the bars, the G-forces push your body back so hard into the back of the seat, which is molded around me. It's a carbon body which is molded around me. It tends to want to lift your body up and then as soon as that happens, then your thumb comes off the go button, and then it's like a situation where you suddenly come off the power and then you go back on it again. You come off the power, you're back on it again. It's like a yo-yo. So to stop that happening, I actually hurt myself. I pulled one of my ligaments in my neck. I thought, no, I don't want to do that. So now I wear tethers on my helmet to stop my head going back too far. I also wear a neck brace. And that's, it's good confidence building. And now how I ride the bike is we get into up to the line. Before we go into stage, we do all the procedures. I arm the system because nothing's live until we're actually pretty much in the beams, just for safety. And then when I've reset all the systems, Diane goes to the back, pulls the shoot pin, shows it me, and then I'll go into first bulb into pre-stage, and then I arm it. So now all the buttons are live. So I keep my fingers and thumb well off that, and I'm not touching the brakes. Unlike a normal bike, when you're coming into stage, you're holding it on the front brake. I don't do that. I just come in on my tiptoes. And then as soon as I get the second light, I'll nod my head and push against the handlebars and push myself into the bike. So I'm locked in. And then you get a countdown, and of course you can hear it all because it's absolutely deadly silent. And then you press the button, and it feels like an eternity, but it's like this 100th of a second that we were discussing earlier. Suddenly kicks in, and then bang, off you go, and you're really going. And every time you do it, you're still sort of shocked how bloody fast it is.
I can imagine.
So then you've got a bit of steering to do, and stay away from the wall, you know, or the centre line. But because it's thrust and there's no torque reaction, there's no traction, there's no clutch take up, there's no gyroscopics going on. It's just straight as an arrow, and if you point it in that direction, it will go that direction. Yeah. And ironically, the more you go into the run, the faster you go, the better the bike handles, because the centre of gravity lifts as the mass of the water decreases.
That was my next question, because this bike is going to be almost 300 pounds lighter at the end of the run than it was when it started.
That's right. Yeah, and the centre of gravity lifts, and we all know the higher the centre of gravity, the more responsive it is, even though it's, you know, like a nearly 10-foot wheelbase.
Yeah.
Wow. So the handling is dynamic because the physics are changing as you're going down the track. That's crazy.
That's right. Yeah, and so the geometry of the hub center steering, it's a little bit of a compromise between having the steering early on and having the steering at the fast end of the track.
So what does
should be perfect? Should be perfect right in the middle.
Wait.
Well, that's the plan. Yeah, it should be perfect.
That's right where that's where you don't want to turn though.
So Dan,
no, I mean it's really well behaved.
Dan, go ahead.
What does the bike weigh without the water?
Yeah, it's quite heavy, old girl. So we're talking without the water, it's about 913 pounds. So it's 415 kilos.
Wow.
Because everything's big and thick and heavy because of the pressure vessel. You know, the pressure vessel you can't just make it yourself. We have a great company on board that make pressure vessels for the oil and gas and nuclear industry. And the stringent tests that go through the manufacture of the pressure vessel, it's reassuring. So the pressure vessel is tested up to 1,500 psi. Wow. And we take it to 600, don't we? Something like that.
So you have a lot of safety margin in pretty much everything you do.
Yeah, and every 25 heat cycles, because everything's logged, the bike's stripped down and it's sent away and it's NDT'd and then recertified.
We're just really happy you didn't use Ocean Gate to do your pressure vessel.
No. It's quite fortunate, really. You know.
Do you get any off? You know, some second-rate carbon fiber.
Yeah.
You get a real discount.
Yeah. A couple of scuba tanks, same thing, right?
I did notice this about your bike, about the Force of Nature, is you've got more brake rotor surface area on this machine. You have hung some amazing brakes on this bike. Is that just because there's, you can't always trust a parachute?
Well, your parachute is your friend, you know, but your parachute will at maximum pull you down minus 2G, which is 44 miles an hour per second. So you need your brakes, but the problem we've got is you've got very narrow tyres.
Yes, you do.
We're running 60 psi in the tyres, and they're very cold. Even though they're a soft compound, they're still cold, and they're not actually designed to be braked on. They're the front of a top fuel dragster. So they can take the loading and the pressure and the acceleration and the centrifugal forces, but with the braking, it's not designed. It's not a tyre that's designed to brake on. So we've got to have good control of the brakes. So we're running 320, it's 12-inch diameter, but the pad track is only 7/8.
Right, they're real skinny.
Because that's where the maximum torque is.
Mm-hmm.
So it reduces your gyroscopic effect, but you still got maximum torque of your brakes. But the brakes, I've made the discs out of a material called GGG 440 spherical graphite iron. Yeah,
oh my gosh! Say that again.
It's spherical graphite iron, so it's not a grey pearlitic iron. It's got a lot of graphite in it.
Yeah,
and
we make ours we made ours out of meteors. We just collected them this week.
yeah. But if you use an organic pad against a spherical graphite iron, then it emits a phenolic resin between the pad interface and the disc, and it's that does your braking. It also takes away a lot of the temperature, so they're really good at a cold brake. You've got really good coefficient of mu, which is exactly what you want for drag racing.
Yeah,
and you've got good feel and progression in your brakes. I made them myself.
I was going to say, can I just get those down at the auto parts store?
I think Summit sell them.
So when you're going down the track, do you wear any kind of monitoring systems on yourself? Some of the guys in the chat were asking, what kind of G's are you hitting when you're launching that button? And then also braking. You say you're hitting 2 G's just hitting the brake. So what is it like when you launch?
When I launch, it's 6. Maximum we're seeing 6.8, but then it settles down to a sort of like mediocre 5.
I used to work at a job where my boss flew aerobatic airplanes, and I got to fly in a Yak 54, and we pulled 4.8 G's on the bottom of a loop, and I saw the world going like this. So I can't imagine. Did you have to build up to 6 G's? Like, that's pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, it's not the sort of bike that you can just get on and say, "Oh, my beer." You know.
Yeah, that sounds like a challenge.
Practice runs are a little expensive.
I've been progressively getting quicker and quicker and quicker, and I think I don't really want to accelerate anymore. I don't think we need to. I think that with this new bike we've built, which we're testing next Friday, really excited about. We've got a bigger pressure vessel, but we've completely redesigned the outlets. So we'll have calculated around about 30% more power.
Wow.
And 30% more fuel.
I don't think this thing needs... I saw it run. I'm like, wow. So this ought to be incredible.
Did it get boring for you already? Are you already needing more power?
It's frustrating, and it's incredibly addictive. It's addictive, you know that.
Who doesn't need more power?
So instead of just playing around with 2 seconds of power, we've now got potentially 3.4 seconds of power.
So you can push it out to a quarter mile better.
Well, we'll run out just after the 8th.
Right.
So the first second we'll be doing 120 miles an hour in the first second, and then we average
3 seconds to 60 mile an hour in 3 seconds. No, I'm 120 in 1 second.
Well, the second we'll be doing another 90 miles an hour, and then the third second it's around about 70 miles an hour. So our exit speed through the 8th will be around about 260.
Oh my god!
So 260 in 3 seconds.
Wait, is this
that'll
the
give
fastest?
us a potential.
This is going to be.
That'll give us a potential of running a 2 second 8th and 4 second quarter potentially.
Sir, you have just achieved. You are the fastest person we've ever had.
Oh,
on
you're
this
definitely the fastest
by
person.
far.
Well done. Yeah, that is definitely. It's terrifying. The next question is: so, what did Diane think when she took a go?
I can't reach the handlebars.
She used to be 6'1".
We thought you had a pillion on it.
It didn't handle too well with the sidecar on.
Okay, so now this is the joke all the time is I've had some fast motorcycles, and then I'd get off the really, really fast motorcycle, and I would jump on a 1950s or 1960s Vespa scooter, right? I'd jump off of a 200 mile an hour motorcycle and get on a 1959 Lambretta, right? And so what do you ride when you're not riding something that goes 100 miles an hour in 1 second?
We have a narrowboat that goes 4 miles an hour.
You have a narrowboat.
Those are really cool.
Love.
Yeah, we have a narrowboat which we've pretty much covered most of the inland waterways of England.
Oh, fantastic!
So, yeah,
good for you.
And it takes about 3 days to to get to that sort of like mentality.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's an extreme again, isn't it? Everything I do is extreme.
So how many events a year do you attend with your bike?
We're doing we think we're doing 8 this year. 8 races, but we do a lot of shows and such like.
So wait, racing. So what do you compete against if you're racing?
Well, we call it racing. It's exhibition.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I was going to say, if there was a
racing
second
against.
one.
Yeah, so everyone races against the clock, don't they?
I mean, I'm hoping that they give you some money to do this, right? I mean, like they're selling a lot of tickets, and you're one of the big things, probably. So,
100,000 pounds a run.
It would be nice. That would be nice.
That would be.
Yeah.
They're going to give him a Ferris wheel. There's a Ferris wheel at Santa Pod. When he's done, they'll just give him the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it just seems like your cost per run is so much higher than anybody except for like a single-use drag racing team.
We get attendance money, and it covers our costs. And but we're enthusiasts, and that's what it's about, you know.
Yeah.
It's just started off as a hobby, and it's turning into a job.
Yes, that's what they
obsession.
do.
Are there any other steam-powered cycles like this that in England or in Europe? I mean, I've never seen one.
The only one I know of is Kai Michelson's building one. So Kai is from Minnesota.
Dan?
Part of the Rocket Boys.
Wow.
And he's building one. I've seen photographs of it, but yeah, I wholly encourage. I think everybody should have one.
So I do have a question about the steam vessel, the pressure vessel. How many cycles is it good for? Is there a service life?
Every 25 heat cycles, it has a full inspection, and we've never gone above 30 runs on one vessel.
Has the vessel ever exhibited any signs of fatigue, or is there like an expected life? You know, how many cycles could you put it through?
It's open-ended.
Right.
We had a burner tube go, but it was our fault because we went over temperature many times because we couldn't control the temperature. So we scrapped that one off before it became an issue. We've now, if you look after it, it'll last for as many runs as you want to do. They're over-engineered. But now we've got a water-cooled firebox. We can control the temperature going in. The problem was we had an air-cooled firebox, and we actually made a furnace, unbeknowingly. And as soon as you get one little air leak, you got white hot metal, and you can't control it. So, yeah, those were early learning days.
How does the environmental temperature, if you're doing this all summer and then into the fall, and you get a cold day, do you have to change things on your setup to compensate for the environmental temperature?
No, the only thing we do is if it's really warm, we tend to run fans just to keep the bike cool. And when it's cold, we like windy, for example, we just pull the awning sides down so we can monitor the temperature. But with regards to performance, it doesn't make any difference.
Now, did I hear
one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing that does make a difference is headwinds and tailwinds, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. You know, you think a tailwind would make you go quicker, but in actual fact, we've run slower, and we've got lots of data to prove this. And if you've got a headwind, it's actually generating more of a depression at the rear, which helps to pull the water out. Whereas if you've got a tailwind, it's actually pushing the water back in, so to speak. Those little differences make a few hundredths, and it's because the bike is very good. You can pretty much dial it in once we know where the settings are. There's so few variables. You know, you haven't got to muck about with your density, altitude, and your fuel settings or your clutch settings because of the temperature or the track. All that's just not relevant for what we're doing. We just have the bike.
Well, what about
to what we think?
What about if you were running it at altitude where the air is not as dense, so you're not pushing the thrust against dense air, you're pushing against thinner air? Have you ever run it at anything like that where that would show?
We've never run at altitude, but I would think we'd go quicker because the forward air that we're pushing through gives you less resistance.
True,
but we're still pushing against the condensed steam because we're taking the steam with us while we're pushing.
Did I hear you mention earlier the Scott Truax?
It was Bob Truax.
Bob Truax, right? So he did
Scott's. Scott's Bob's son.
Right. So you were obviously paying attention for the second Snake River jump in
2016. With Eddie Brawn.
Yeah, because that was 400? Was that 400 miles an hour and 1,500 feet?
27, I think, or something like that. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers. And
that was designed by a great bloke called Craig Adams, and Craig was the understudy of Bob Truax. And I've been in contact many times with Craig. He's a great bloke, and he's really guided me in the right direction. When I've been going down blind alleys, Craig's just said, no, this is what you need to be doing. And so it just guided me in the right direction.
I was definitely watching TV during Evel Knievel's first attempted jump of the Snake River Canyon, where it was the world's most obvious early parachute deployment ever. I
think the reason why Eddie Brawn wanted to reenact it is because he wanted to prove the engineering of Bob Truax, and he wanted to prove that Evel Knievel didn't chicken out.
Right.
And he wanted to go and do it, because Evel blamed Bob Truax and Bob blamed Evel. But unfortunately, both guys are now no longer with us.
But what's kind of funny is Phil nailed this, because we were talking, and before we had you on, we were like, what do you think this idea came from? And he was like, obviously, he's around our age. It's got to be Evel Knievel and Snake River. And sure enough, that's what you said.
Yeah, that was, as a little kid, I had as many Evel Knievel toys as my paper route money would afford me. And I have holes in the drywall in my mom's office from me running the Evel Knievel toys at the wall as hard as humanly possible. And recently, a manufacturer came up with remade the Evel Knievel stunt cycles. So a couple of years ago, we all sort of went out and grabbed them and bought them. And it turns out that when you're 55 years old, they're just as much fun as they were when you were 5 years old.
Mm-hmm. You can go on the internet and see some fantastic jumps made.
Yeah, there's a guy. I was going to say, there's a guy has a whole channel. He's like,
and it's just
super high production.
But
value.
as a kid, when I saw, I was already he was my hero at 5 years old. So when that Snake River, when that launch failed so terribly, as a kid, I was broken. I mean, I was absolutely broken. But for years after that,
I blame Bob Truax.
Well, but for years after that, it was just a battle. Anytime anybody'd shove a camera in front of Evel Knievel's face, he would immediately blame Bob Truax, right?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you're like, I don't know, man. I saw the parachute. Like the problem was the parachute stayed on the launch ramp, and the sky cycle went away from the parachute, and it just. I don't even think Evel Knievel would have had the time to deploy the parachute.
I think the story is they built three, and the first one they put on the launch ramp with nobody around, and they wanted the press there, so they had a bit of a press event. And Evel said to Bob Truax, just half fill it, we don't want full power because we want it to crash because we want people to think I'm going to die. And then, so they did, and of course, he's going to die, Evel's going to die, he's mad, which is great publicity. And that's what he was, he was a publicity seeker and showman. And he did his job because we're talking about him now.
Yes, true. Absolutely. Yeah. And
then the second one, they put sandbags in and they said, right, we want to make sure it works, we're just with sandbags. And it didn't, it failed. So when Evel got into the third Sky Cycle 3,
right.
He was lifted in by a crane, it was all dramatic. It was fantastic. He didn't know what was going to happen. He didn't know whether he was going to push that button and sign off his destiny. He didn't know. Right. And it actually shows in his face because they zoomed in, did the camera as he's getting in. And he could see that was, he was a brave man.
Yeah,
it's a thin line between bravery and foolishness.
Says
and
this
people
guy.
say this to me.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, says this guy.
The difference, it seems to be the difference is that one, you don't drink as much and you haven't punched out as many people, or at least that we're aware of.
And he's done it multiple times.
Right, exactly. And he keeps getting back on the damn thing. So
you're actually successful.
Right.
Well, yeah. I've built a bigger one as well. So
exactly.
I can see your wife saying he just hasn't learned his lesson yet. That's the problem.
I'm glad you got into this instead of landmines.
Yeah. I mean, I've been involved in drag racing and motorsport and all my life. And my dad was a great part behind it. And unfortunately, my dad had a really bad motorcycle accident when I was 6 years old, and it pretty much ended his sort of aspirations. He lost his eye and part of his head. He was in and out of hospital for 12 months. Whoa. And so one of the positives out of negatives like that was we went to see lots of motorsport while he was in rehabilitation, and he took me to Santa Pod in 1972. And I remember running up the bank and listening to these two who were blown Triumphs, and just flying down and thinking, oh my goodness me, this is it. I found it, utopia. And we just followed drag racing and all the time. And when I was 16, I wanted to buy a drag bike, but of course I was on like $15 a week, first year apprentice. And my friend said, well, why don't we go halves on one? Because I've got the money. I said, right, okay. He was a little bit older than me. So we found a bike, and it was £350. That's what's that, like $400 or something like that, way out of my league. And he said, well, why don't we go halves? You do the mechanicking and we'll share the riding, and you just pay me like $10 a week back. I went, right, you're on. So this happened for about 6 weeks, and then he turned up in the garage where I was working as an apprentice. And he said, I need all my money, Graham. And I said, well, we've gotten a deal, I've already paid you this week. He went, no, you don't understand. I need all the money. I said, why? He said, my dad's found out. I said, your dad's found out? What's he got to do with your dad? He said, I took it out of his bank account without him knowing. Yeah, so I said, well, I can't pay you. I don't have the money. And he said, well, we're going to have to sell the bike. I said, no way, you can't sell the bike. He said, well, my dad's going to come round and see your dad. I went, good luck. So it ended up that my dad paid the debt off, and I ended up paying my dad $20 a week back.
So you refinanced it back out?
Yeah.
Nice.
And but bank of par, So
right. Yeah. What was that bike? Yeah. What was your first bike?
It was a 350 supercharged Triumph on nitro. So the learning curve was vertical.
Yeah. Was that the one that you've got? Was that the shotgun?
No, shotgun's a different bike. I ride that for somebody else. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because there's no shortage of photographs of you and shit hot motorcycles. Putting it nicely.
Yeah, well, I've been very fortunate. I get to ride quite a lot of really nice bikes. I mean, I suppose my claim to fame was riding Hogslayer. The TC Christiansen bike, which is over in the UK, and it was brought out of the National Motorcycle Museum, and I was very privileged to ask to ride it.
Oh, wow.
And I must say it's probably one of the hardest bikes to ride because it wasn't particularly set up well, and I don't fit it. I'm a little bit too tall for it. But yeah, I've ticked that one off. That's done. Yeah. Right. Very, 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 very lucky person.
Yeah, the Hogslayer, for the people don't know, is during the rivalry between Triumph and Harley Davidson in the drag racing community, the gauntlet kept being thrown back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the Hogslayer bike, it was out there fighting the good fight. As guys would show up in these extremely large cubic inch Harley Davidsons, they just kept bolting Triumph motors together. And the answer was just keep adding Triumph motors. And you have one really big Harley motor. Well, it's okay. We'll try 2 Triumph motors. Mm-hmm. And so I've just pulled up an image so the folks can see you on the Hogslayer. And that's really cool. But it also does look like that would be like a bag of wet cats because the geometry on that bike looks awful.
Well, that's how things are developed, isn't it? So it's an old bike, and it was an old bike that was run for many years, pretty much in the same guise. The engine configuration changed, but the chassis and such like it didn't change a great deal, even though it had several chassis. And it's what people knew, so that's what they stuck to. So in the 60s, that's how they went fast. So they brought that into the 70s, and so it goes on, And it's only, I suppose, with the advent of production motorcycles getting more involved in drag racing that big steps have been brought forward in how bikes handle. Mm-hmm. It was all about putting a bigger tire as you possibly could on and hanging on.
Yeah, definitely the era of the huge Mickey Thompson on the back and a bicycle tire on the front.
I just love the name, the Hog Slayer.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome.
It's very cool.
Well, talking about drag racing bike names, in the late 70s, early 80s, there were two rivals at the top of the British drag racing elite, and one was John Hobbs and the other was Mick Butler. And it came to the final, and either one of them could win, and they got into the final together, and it was whoever won this race won the British Championship. So in honor of Hogslayer,
which the Hogslayer was in Norton, wasn't it? Wasn't it Norton?
It was two Nortons, yeah.
Yeah, two Nortons, yeah.
Mick Butler changed the name of his bike to Hobbslayer to beat out John Hobbs. So John Hobbs, being the wily old guy he is, he changed his name to What the Butler Saw.
Jeez.
Nice.
That is, that is fantastic.
That is true English wit right there.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's
John Hobbs won. Yeah.
Yeah, he got it. The kind of growing up around motorcycles my entire life and being in that, having that technology happen all around me, I was running 1974 Kawasaki H4B motor in an H1 chassis that we had set up by Fast by Gas to do quarter mile.
Yeah.
And, it was funny because I was like, oh, I'm going to spend the money and put an aerodynamic disc on my front wheel. Okay, check. I'm going to run the biggest tire I can, a 150. Yeah, a 150 was the biggest tire that would fit on the back of that motorcycle. And then after unsuccessfully using that bike on the track for 2 years, I was like, oh, screw it. I'm just going to make it back into a street bike. And arguably one of the worst motorcycles I've ever ridden in my life. And anybody tells you like, oh, the H2 was incredible. It was, it was great. No, it wasn't. It was garbage. It was absolute trash.
In the UK, it had a nickname of being called the Widowmaker.
Yeah. Us too. Yeah. It had an uncanny ability to not turn. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
It did one thing really well, and that was it just two-stroked itself right off the line. And then it was all about the world's worst brakes, the world's worst suspension, just absolute crap.
And then you start putting too many pipes and all the pipes and stuff on it. So the power band was literally 800, like you had like that much area.
I had factory brand expansion chambers on it and, take the silencers off when you want to make noise and that thing. But yes, you're right. The responsive part of my power band was about 1800 RPM.
Yeah.
And anything else was garbage. And just for that alone, it was just pure sex.
Yep.
Yeah. And then it just sucked after that.
So, Graham, you said you're working on this new bike. So you're going to start testing it next week. So besides a bigger tank, and you said, is it different aerodynamics? Is there something what else have you learned or what else have you changed on this new bike?
We've increased the wheelbase for two reasons. One is to give it more aerodynamic stability. And secondly is to make my riding position a little bit safer. So I'm not riding with quite as much of a bent arm so that I'm more laid out on the bike. That'll give me much more chance of staying in the damn thing, than being torn out of it. So the vessel's larger. So everything really pretty much from the handlebars back is new. So we've modified the outlets so that the valves are now right at the end of the thruster tubes, whereas before they were close up to the tank. And there's a reason for that, because when the valves open with the old system, they were up against the tank. You had a thruster tube, which was to atmosphere. And as the valve opened, that superheated water came tumbling out the front of it, boiling away, slowing the velocity of the water coming out. And then when it got to the level nozzle, which work at their most efficient with laminar flow, it was about as laminar as a bloody waterfall, we're all over it. But you learn, don't you, but it's not an easy installation putting the valves right at the back, because we've got to thrust through the centre of gravity or the mean centre of gravity of the bike. That means that it just happens to be a quarter of an inch above the centre line of the rear axle. So the rear thruster tubes go through the rear axle.
Oh, geez.
Now, it's designed like that for two reasons. One, so that we've got the right line of thrust, And secondly, we use the thruster tubes as part of the chassis because that just ties everything in, makes lovely, nice little triangles between the side plates and the thruster tubes.
It's all about the triangles.
It's all about the triangles.
Oh, God, yeah.
Always is.
I wish I'd have invented the triangle. And if it wasn't a triangle, a circle. Yeah, right. A bloody wheel would have been a good one to
I'm looking at some photographs of some previous versions of the Force of Nature, and on some of these, it looks like you've got some sort of an adjustable device in front of the front wheel.
No, that's the towing hitch.
That is the towing hitch.
Wow.
Yeah, so when I first made that, before we even got the rocket motor running efficiently, I wanted to work out what my coefficient of drag was.
Okay, nice.
And you put in a
wind tunnels. Wind tunnels are overrated.
Well, yeah, they are. The shit.
You're allowed to say that on here.
All right, okay. Well, they're rubbish because they only give you aerodynamic drag. They don't give you anything else. There's lots of parasitic losses.
Yeah.
So if you do a tow down test, so if you get towed to 100 miles an hour and then log your deceleration over time, you can work out what your resistance is, and from that you can work out what your coefficient of friction is against air. And we're about 0.19 mu, so it's very slippery.
That is clean.
Yeah. So for an open bike, because it is a partially streamlined bike, it's not a full liner. Mm-hmm. It's very good. And of course that manifests itself because we only have 330 foot of power, and we're doing around about 185 at that point. And then we coast for 1,000 foot, and we're running about 179. So yeah, we're only losing 12 miles an hour over 4 seconds.
That's incredible.
Are you doing? So are you using ceramic bearings in the wheels and stuff, or what are you doing to get that just the coefficient down on the spin?
Well, yeah, bearings I won't use ceramic bearings primarily because they give you no warning of failure. Ceramic bearings, they are getting better, I must say, but they're good for high temperature, high speed. They're not very good for impact or low speed, high torque. And that's what a wheel bearing is. Mm-hmm. It's low speed, low temperature, high torque, high forces and impact. So I use an Explorer bearing. It's an SKF bearing, but it's designed to have matched pairs. So one side is matched with the other, a bit like a spindle bearing in a CNC machine. Mm-hmm. But we take the grease out of it, and we use a special grease. It's actually not a grease; it's a soap, and it's very low coefficient. So it's got good lubricity, but its frictional losses are low. And then instead of having a standard seal in the bearing, we have nothing on the inside, and on the outside we have a Viton and steel seal, which is a -2Z. If for anybody who's a bearing nerd,
I'm a bearing nerd.
Yeah.
We got those
and,
here.
And yeah, the difference is phenomenal. So the rolling resistance, I mean, it's all marginal gains because 3/4 of the run is coasting. You've got to really make sure you're good at coasting.
Yeah,
that's great. It's great this side of the line, and then when it comes to the other side of the line, it's your enemy because I've no engine braking. I've just got to pull it up on the brakes.
Right. It's cool. I mean, it's the most important thing for doing the job because you only have a thrust package for so long. So your thrust package is so damn short. So you've got to really conserve that velocity as long as you can conserve that velocity. But then tracks do eventually end.
Right.
So are you able to get a clean run where you can hold the button until it runs out of juice? Or do you
2 seconds?
I mean, you can generally just hold it and let it rip.
I hold the button in, and I keep, just because of you're thinking of other things, you keep your button pressed in way after you've run out of fuel.
Right.
And when I push the shoot button, that shuts the valves.
Okay.
So yeah, we run it out of fuel.
Okay.
So at the moment, we're running out of 330 foot. This next bike, we're hoping to, get past 660, past the 8.
Wow. During that, that huge amount of time, that 3 seconds that you're flying down the track, is there a certain point where you're like, okay, this run's successful, and you kind of get more relaxed and you're just in it? Like, is it just during that first thrust, or once it opens, or when do you feel like, yeah, all right, let's go? You
know what? You're talking as though you've ridden it, because that's exactly it. you get the exciting bit out of the way, and then it's come on, finishing line, come on, how long have we got? It feels like an eternity because you've stopped accelerating, even though you're doing 180 mile an hour. It feels slow, because the acceleration.
Because you're decelerating. Yeah.
Well, that's
right. Yeah.
I was going to wonder what it's like for you to drive down the street and hit a school zone and have to go 5 miles an hour through a school zone or something. It probably feels like an eternity.
Well, you're just saying, well, it's okay because that's what you've got to do. That's the rules. Sure. You've got to abide by it, and just live with it. That's life.
Congratulations. That was the most English answer ever.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, well done. I found a picture of your bike naked. I had to log into OnlyFans. And
okay.
Yeah, I found a topless picture. And when I'm literally looking at these tubes, these thrust tubes are going right through the axle of the motorcycle, and it looks like a Lego project. It's like.
It looks like a spaceship. I mean, there's like space materials and tubes and wow.
Oh, and I know those gold bottles were just harvested straight from NASA.
Yeah.
Well, those gold bottles are titanium and electron beam welded. Yeah, they're really sexy.
They're very sexy.
They're off the air valves off an F1 car.
Wow.
Oh my.
And what are they
doing?
They're
the receivers. Yeah.
What are the gold tubes doing?
They're powering the valves.
That's power. Okay.
Yeah, no, they're accumulators. So so that you don't get a pressure drop in the nitrogen system operating the main valves. Yeah. We run accumulators.
Sure.
But of course, all this is all weight. It's all heavy. Yeah. So we need everything as light as possible.
God.
So I've tried to build it best engineering practice, but I'm not a rich guy, Right. I just work out of a shed.
It doesn't look like you could afford a dead man switch. I don't see a dead man switch up on the handlebars.
Yeah, I do. I have a lanyard.
Oh, you do have a lanyard? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what does it do?
Well, it's hooked to the parachute, of course.
Oh,
yeah, it does. Yeah. In fact, I've got a funny story. The first time I ever got on it, and I've got lots of trepidation, and we had it set low and slow, but we didn't know what low and slow was. It could have been warp speed. We ended up running 85 miles an hour, which is still creditable. Mm-hmm. But we didn't know what to expect. So I had my lanyard on, and at this iteration of it, we had 2 buttons. It seemed like a good idea that you had to be positive, so you couldn't accidentally hit one. You had to simultaneously press 2 buttons. A bit like a press,
like a punch press. Yeah, you want to make sure you keep all your fingers. Yeah,
right.
That was the concept behind it. But anyway, nonetheless, I wasn't used to riding a bike. I was sat in it, and I got myself prepared. And somebody said, "Give us a thumbs up when you're ready." So I stuck my right hand thumb up, and the lanyard came off, and the parachute came out.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, that's right. And somebody shouted out, "Was that it?"
The second most British response ever.
We've moved on.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh my God. Yeah, this is just one of those things. So I don't know if we ever asked. So what is in thrust we trust. What is your power to weight ratio with this vehicle? Because we said that it's over 1,000 pounds soaking wet, right? In standards units. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about, well, of course it alters because I lose thrust as I go along.
Exactly.
So if we're setting off at about 1,000 pounds, we're about 4,000 pounds of thrust. So
4,000 pounds of thrust. Yeah. My God,
so if you put it vertically, it would actually disappear.
Oh, it would be gone. It would be gone. You'd be thrilled to have a 4-to-1 power to weight ratio, a thrust to weight ratio in anything. Yeah.
Well, you can work it out. I think there's a little formula, and it is rudimentary mathematics. But if you know what amount of pounds thrust you've got,
right.
and you times that by miles per hour, and then divide it by 386 as a constant, that will give you mean horsepower. So it's about just over 2,000.
2,000 horsepower. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's spicy.
So Graham, I don't know if you knew that. I think you do, but so the reason that you're here and the reason that I got to meet you is I posted on I keep my Facebook really tight, just friends, racers, things like that. And I posted a video of you and I said, "This guy is my new hero." And of course, within 2 minutes, Paul my buddy who races sidecars and also is building a twin pulse jet.
Yeah, twin pulse jet, Paul.
Land speed racer goes, oh, you want to meet him? I know him. He's a friend of mine. And I'm like, yeah. But it's like, when you know enough weird people, you can find all the other weird people all over the world to find all the cool stuff that people are doing, man.
Yeah, that's right. And I've mucked about with pulse jets, but you can't get any power out of them. But you know, there's one thing 100% certain: you will have a fire.
Well, this is
and loud.
When I ran into Paul, and I had known him through a mutual friend of ours, the girl he's dating, and we're sponsoring his sidecar rig. And we're just kind of like meeting this guy, and he's very, very interesting. And he's obviously not. His elevator doesn't go to the top floor. He's very, very, but he's clearly a good guy. And so he was like, "Oh, we're talking about pulse jets," and I was like, "Yeah, we made one in the Boy Scouts with a leaf blower and a propane tank. Our Boy Scout master, we made a pulse jet like on a long weekend." And he goes, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And I said, "Well," and then he starts showing me pictures of his pulse jet. And I'm like, "Well, your level of safety is it's mounted to a garden trailer." And I'm like, "So I don't feel so bad about my Boy Scout experience when a pulse jet that is actually like designed to invade England is sitting on a garden trailer."
Well, his last thing, I saw the last time, he has 2 of them mounted to a motorcycle frame.
Yeah.
And then the thing controlling the air is a heater vent.
Heater vent.
So,
yeah.
A little different from your style of working on things, but that's why we love Paul.
Right. Yeah, there's a difference in the engineering there. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at what we're doing with the superheated water rocket, it's very, very simple. It must be the simplest form of thrust. But because
how many no moving parts?
Well, the valve.
The valve.
We've got the valve. Yeah. So we've got 2 valves. That is it.
Right. It would go just as fast without the tires.
It would go faster.
It would go faster.
One of the few drag racers to go that fast and never blow a piston.
Yeah, that's true. It is. It is just the hardest thing to wrap your head around because steam is something that everyone just immediately thinks is something that's antiquated, or everyone thinks, oh, well, that's pretty, that's pretty mundane. But no, it's a terrifically powerful force. It's a terrifically dangerous force. But the fact that
every power station has steam.
Yes.
Use steam turbines for power generation because it's most efficient.
Yeah, by far. It's just the craziest thing. But the idea is like, okay, power station. Well, let's just take that down the racetrack. Nobody ever thought, let's make this shit super portable. How portable? Well, one guy, 2 seconds, gone. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We actually get our water from the power station.
Oh, really? Wow.
But when they wash out, they have tens of thousands of gallons. They wash it out.
Yeah.
We get like 1,000 liters.
Is it special water?
Yeah. So it's super pure, deionized, demineralized water. So we measure the purity of water in a scale called microsiemens. We all have a chuckle. Yeah.
They got a really small submarine.
That's right. So 1 microsiemen is a millionth of an ohm. So you can measure the conductivity of water because water has got no conductivity. It's impurities.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's like
we're around about between 4 and 10 microsiemens. Wow. So your average tap water is between 200 and 400 microsiemens pure.
And you're not recycling that. You're the end user.
Yeah, that's right. That's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
So if you were to run other water, would that be just the friction would just eat your nozzles, or what would be bad?
Well, yeah, the problem with normal water is you've got lots of debris in there, and when you've got debris in water, because it's high velocity, it's a cutting agent. But worse than that is you've got pesky little things called free radicals. And they're rogue oxygen molecules wanting to oxidize against anything. So if the more debris and detritus you've got in the water, the more impure it is, the more objects they've got to attach themselves to oxidize against.
So that's why they use a cathode rod or in hot water tanks and stuff like that.
Yes, that's right. So it just attracts the free radicals. Yeah, so it's a sacrificial anode.
I got to say, it is one of those strange things. When I was a kid, we used to go to the drag strip, and there was a guy named Les Shockley, and he had a 18-wheeler, a Peterbilt, that had not one, not two, but three monster jet engines on it. And as a kid, he was like the crowd pleaser. End of the night, things would get super dark, and he'd bring out Shockwave, right? And we were just thrilled. I mean, the coolest thing in the world. You feel the heat on your face. Even in the cheap seats.
Well, that's what. So Summit Racing, we bought a track right kind of down where I live. I live way far from Summit, but I live by the track, and so they have kind of what you would want at the back of the track. They have a 30-foot wall, and it's all sponsor walls. And usually Summit has the whole top sponsored. And when the jet cars come, they allow them to back up next to it and then blow the jet and just burn the whole wall down every time. It's pretty amazing.
Doesn't sound safe to me.
It's night under fire, and so everything burns down. They have rocket cars, dudes flying everywhere. It's pretty cool, man. Oh, yeah.
Well, I could put them all out.
Yeah, that's... I love it.
Should paint that thing red like a fire.
I might have to mention that.
That would be fantastic.
You got to fly this guy over, boys. He's going to put the fire out.
Right, yeah.
And go 300 miles an hour.
Right, yeah.
I think you want to come here, Graham, and we're going to build a ramp for that thing.
So you
jump that Cuyahoga River.
We're going to finish the job. Yeah,
right. Oh my gosh!
You obviously probably hold some records, right? I mean, fastest steam-powered motorcycle, I would say, right?
Yeah, the fastest steam-powered motorcycle, fastest steam-powered vehicle.
Okay.
The quickest accelerating vehicle to 60 foot.
Oh.
So we've run a 0.72. Wow. I think the quickest was, I think it's either Clay Millican or Brittany.
What was he using? Dynamite?
Hey, we sponsored.
And I think we're quicker than them to the 330 as well. We've run a 196.
Wow.
And nice. I think that's the quickest thing ever. And then, of course, we quickest motorcycle to the 8th. And then we've got to be the quickest. We've not quite got there yet, but we've got to be the quickest to the 1,000 foot and a quarter.
I heard you have this silver medal in testicular circumference.
Well, yeah, I've had to hand it back because I've had them chemically removed because they're no longer required.
Wait, I think this is another first?
Yeah.
A multiple record holder?
Oh, multiple record holder.
Right?
By far. Multiple world records. That is
So I had just a real weird thought. You were talking about the ball valve seat material and everything. Have you ever thought about wood? Don't laugh because there are certain species of wood that are super hard, super resilient that they use in giant ship bearings. They're actually then they last for 100 years of this particular type of wood. That's all I was.
No, I know.
We did, and that type of wood is called lignum vitae.
That's it. Yep.
And
of course,
I did look at it, but it's not very good with temperature.
Okay.
Superb in aqueous environments.
Okay.
So for a ship's propeller.
Well, that's what made me think of it. Yeah. It was like, you got water and stuff, and maybe that would hold up better than something. But
so it's the material we use. It's a reinforced PTFE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So PTFE is very good.
Teflon, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So it's Teflon's just a DuPont trade name.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But yeah, PTFE is great. It's really good under temperature, and it stays stable. But it's not very good. It's quite soft. So in compression, it fails. So you have to reinforce it with other things like glass fiber, carbon fiber, PEEK, polyether ketone, and stainless steel. So there's lots of things that you can do and mix to have the resilience of compression and the ability to be able to withstand temperature, and still be a conform material. So it's not too hard.
You see, where the problem I'm having here is the nerd, the material science specialist, is not supposed to be the one piloting the vehicle usually. So how the way this usually works, in case you're not familiar with how America does things, is we keep all of the super smart people away from the super bangy explodey things. Because we have a thing called test pilots, which are disposable, and we put those on the super bangy explodey things, and we keep the super smart nerds very far away from those in things called control centers. But
I have a guy that rides a bike periodically, and it's done for a reason, because you can't tune a bike without standing back from it and actually physically watching it. And if you're on the bike, you really don't actually get to feel what's happening. Interrupted flow, the plume, whether the nozzles are underdeveloped, and photographs are great, but it's just that moment in time. You've got to see a dynamic picture unfold in front of you, and the only way to do that is actually watch it, and listen, and you can hear the sonic boom as the water goes supersonic.
Wow.
Now, did you have to pay him to do this, or did he jump up voluntarily?
No, he's a chap I've known for years and years, and he's a really good rider, and he's a very accomplished.
I think trust would be the main factor.
I was going to say, because if you ever need somebody to do it for free, I'll have a go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in. I love it. I love everything about this project, and I could stand to give up a few inches.
You've got to be really careful what you wish for.
I was going to say, Graham, do you have a rack that you hang upside down on after
each run
to decompress yourself?
Well, that was the other thing I was thinking about, is the gravity suit like fighter pilots wear. Is that, you don't ever get to the point where you're going to pass out. It's so quick. It's not enough to.
No, you certainly feel it, but I just tend to oxygenate up as I'm walking to the line, deep breaths, and get lots of air and oxygen in, good stuff into my lungs. And of course, then it makes you think straight. You're very focused, and there's no blinking or breathing. You're just on this bloody thing.
So you're not like Joey Dunlop having a cig before jumping on the bar.
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
That'd be cool.
Well, you could put it out too,
right? Man, I'm telling.
It's a great thing I built, and I've no idea what's going to happen to it after I finish with it. It'll just,
I see it being in a museum somewhere. I'm sure.
Well, is the next version of this, is that going to be a clean sheet build, or are you going to modify this existing bike?
Well, you said it's long.
I think we've exploited as much as we can with this concept.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only way we could go further was we'll build a 4-wheel vehicle because it's scalable, and there's a few people making the right noises about wanting one, but of course it's not that easy. We've got over 10 years of knowledge about how to get power out of water. 14th year, really.
Yeah.
The first, so all the pitfalls that we've fallen into, if anyone else was going to try it, I'm sure that they'd find their own pitfalls, and it's difficult, but really good fun. And when I first started the project, I thought it'd be really easy. Just get a pressure vessel, fill it with water, heat it up.
And, grab that old propane tank over there, and we'll just
hot water tank, 2-ball valves, we're off to the races.
I strapped a fire extinguisher on the back of my bicycle. Just pulled the pin.
So has anybody approached you now that you have all this knowledge on how to make water into power? Has anybody from other industries say, hey, can we talk to you? Or is that still something that they're not messing with?
No, but this is England. Such things like that don't happen. No, we're still in the dark ages in this country.
Yeah, see, here they would have used it for 7 weapons already.
Yeah, this would, right. This would already be DARPA and Skunk Works, right? This would be busy in Iran right now. Yeah. Man. There's definitely, I think there's a different sensibility when it comes to this. Yeah. I'm honestly shocked the British haven't figured out a way to use this to ruin beer.
Why?
And that is rich coming from an American.
Where the beer starts out ruined.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I'm of German extraction. I can tell you that I can teach all of you something here.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was over in San Diego. I was over building a land speed record bike. It was next on Vesco bike, and Rob North was building it, and we were down there with him. And it was when the Icelandic dust cloud was was just stopping any transatlantic flights. Mm-hmm. So we were stuck in America for about 4 weeks. Ended up, was it 4 weeks, 5 weeks? And I was sleeping on an airbed, like a camp bed, but it had a puncture. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it wasn't the landing on. It wasn't waking up on the floor. It was when am I going to touch the floor? You know. So in the end, I just slept on it. You know, deflated. So that, but it was just rubbish. And one of Rob's friends said, "Why don't you come stay at our house? You know, you can have the north wing." Oh crikey! This sounds good. So we went, and he had a collection of Porsches and Baja Doom buggies, and this is a place. You know, this is far better. And his wife Dory, she said, "You want a drink?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'd love one, please." So she said, "Oh, go down and there's a refrigerator in the downstairs workshop." So I opened it. It was just full of real ale. You know, it's just proper Yorkshire stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, "Goodness me, how's this?" She says, "Oh, it's one of my hobbies. I love drinking it and collecting it. Why don't we go out?" So we went round San Diego, and they've got loads of real ale bars. And there's one called a Fire Station. I don't know if anybody knows it. Yeah. But yeah, we stayed in there quite a while. I can't remember. Yeah, that was great.
I think so. Real ale to you is was that what we would call a microbrewery? I mean, like
what? Well,
yeah. So it's
like
not
really good beer.
Yeah.
It's not Budweiser.
No, it's a proper barley beer, not a wheat beer.
Yeah. So on the Don Vesco attempt that you were on, what was was that a 500 mile per hour run?
It ended up being shipped back over to the UK.
Yeah.
And it sort of like it died a death, and now it's been re-engineered. I designed and built the transmission. It had a gas turbine engine in it.
Yeah. Oh, that's
out of a Rolls Royce, out of a Lynx helicopter.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of, because I wasn't sure. Yeah. He's done so many, but the one that sticks into mind was the Turbinator.
Yeah, well, it was so this was the one after it.
After the Turbinator.
I think it originally had 2 or maybe 3 Kawasaki Z1300 engines, and they were all linked together with a prop shaft. It was a real wild design, and nothing much happened of it. And then, of course, Don died.
Yeah,
and Rob had done a lot of work with Don, and a colleague of mine was good friends with Don, and he bought it from Don's brother, and so it goes on.
Yeah.
So now that's been rebuilt. It's called Spirit of GB.
Okay.
And they're hoping to run it in Bolivia next year, I think.
Wow. Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you said you built the transmission in that vehicle?
That's right.
Whoa. Okay. And that's running off of a gas turbine?
That's right. Yeah.
How many speeds was this transmission?
So you're using like a 1,500 horsepower, like a helicopter turbine?
There's an in the nose of the Rolls-Royce Gem, there's an epicyclic gearbox which brings the maximum shaft speed down to 8,000. And it goes through a free rotating turbine, so almost like an air torque converter. Yeah. And then it's tooth belt drive in machined housings. So the housings are machined from solid, so that it holds the Kevlar belts in. And then there's a series of prop shafts run down the side of the motor to the rear, and then another transfer box which then takes it to the center of the vehicle, and then we have a bevel drive which then moves the transmission out, so it's now running axial with the rear axle, and then the rear swinging arm is machined from solid, and the belts run inside the rear swinging arm to stop salt ingress.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
So you probably designed all that on a napkin, right?
At the firehouse.
I did it before, yeah. I actually designed it all on 2D CAD, which is like, it's old school now. I mean, I do everything. I use 3D modeling for everything.
Yeah.
Which is very time consuming, and it's much quicker just sketching it up on 2D.
I was on the M1 tank, and we had General Dynamics 1,500 horsepower gas turbine. And the hilarious part about that is the transmission is the mass of the entire powertrain. The turbine itself, you could put it under your arm and steal it, right?
Yeah.
But the 1,500 horsepower developed by this multi-fuel turbine, but the transmission was where all the sexy parts were, because you just had to turn that somewhat steady RPM into 1,500 horsepower into moving a 66-ton tank.
Well, how fast is a turbine spinning? Like 20? I mean, how
no,
many?
It's not that fast. Yeah.
How many thousand?
5,000 RPM, 6,000 RPM.
I thought it was a lot faster than that.
It sounds great, but it's not spinning super fast. Yeah. But it's what kills me is just, moving something that weighs 70 tons with something that's meant to be all about just constant RPMs.
So how you doing, Graham? Because I know it's 1:30 where you are.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Now. Are you doing okay? It's 1:30 a.m.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Just looked at the clock. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure we're not holding you up or anything because we're enjoying having you, but we want to make sure we don't hose you down and you're.
I've written tonight off.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Well done, you. Yeah, well done. That's good thinking. Yeah. So that's neat. So are you going to continue to work with that Spirited GB record? Are you playing?
Yeah, we're just making some new bearing housings for it now. It's been on the hub dyno, just so they can get the fueling correct because an FCU for helicopters, constant RPM, which you've just sort of like covered.
Yeah.
But you've got a bit of throttle it. But it's also got traction control built in it because you've got such a small contact area on a very low coefficient surface. The last thing you want is wheel spin.
You can't have any wheel spin,
especially at 300 or 400 miles an hour. It would probably put it on its side.
Well, and this thing is basically a telephone pole laying on its side.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
So there's no.
It's 32 foot long.
Yeah. Nice. Now, have you gotten to meet Guy Martin yet? Because I understand he's quite a piece of work.
Yeah, he's a good friend.
Good man. All right.
Yeah. In fact, the bike he's building to do 0 to 300 miles an hour in 1 mile. One with the really crazy front suspension. Yeah, I built that.
Oh, you did? I love it.
Yeah, and he came up to the house to collect it on a motorbike, and they said, "Guy, how are you going to get your front end of your motorbike back home on your motorbike?" He went, "Good point, boss."
He figured he'd just use it like a deposit and leave the other one there and rig that one up and just run home on it.
Hey,
it was a Goldwing actually. It was great. First time I've seen the reverse on the Goldwing being used. Because you can press a button and it just inches backwards.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really neat.
Well, hey, if you're having a cup of tea with Guy and you want to tell him about some old guys over here in Ohio and he wants to talk to us, we're always here on Thursdays. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be at that. We'll be at the Isle of Man in September.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately, we'll be in Hockenheim in Germany.
Oh, really?
For the Nitro Olympics.
Nitro Olympics.
Oh, wow.
Ach du Liebe.
Ach du meine Güte.
It's fantastic. They used what was the end of the long straight as the quarter mile, and then the braking area is the track. But it's the last corner before the start and finish. So it's like an amphitheatre. It's 3 tiers high. And then they bring in, there's about 60,000 people there for the night show.
Nice.
And of course you wander in with a rocket bike and the whole place goes silent. And it's a fantastic atmosphere.
You probably have a line.
Really
you got
good.
a line by the tent, don't you? You're signing some autographs at that show, I bet you.
Without a doubt, yeah. I'm in demand. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I love the idea of that. That is a fantastic sounding event.
Yeah.
Oh man!
Yeah, it's really busy. It's an FIA meeting, so there's all the top fuel cars there and all the fuel bikes and everybody. Then the whole meeting stops around about 6 o'clock, and then 8 o'clock the night show starts, and they run right through till about 11 o'clock, culminating in a big drone show and fireworks. And it's really people come just for the night show.
So when some of these other drag racers that are running methanol or something like that, they see you go down, and they ever come up and just been like, "Hey, that's amazing."
Well, you've sort of made it when you see videos of your run and all the top fuel teams are up against the fence watching. And you're thinking that's the one. Yeah.
That's awesome.
In fact, we had an aborted run once, and because the dew point dropped, and we just said it's too, we can't run, so that's fine. So we started venting the tank, turned the heat off and just vented it. So we're venting the steam off. And after about 15 minutes, this nitro funny car driver came up and went, that's been going for 15 minutes. How much steam have you got in there? And I said, oh, it'll be steaming off for another hour. And then once we've got rid of the steam, we'll drain the water. He went, you are joking. I went, no. And, kids are playing through it because it's dry steam, It's cool.
Well, in his world, they've already replaced the motor and rebuilt it. Yeah. So,
So he said, how long does it take you to, exhaust all that in a run? I went, 2 seconds.
2 seconds?
He went, you're mental.
that's what I was about to say. You've made it when you got top fuel dragster guys going, that guy's nuts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Crackers.
It is still the hardest thing to get my head around because the whole idea of the engineering is just the greatest. It's the greatest thing in the world, but it's also the silliest thing in the world because you're like, okay, this guy clearly belongs in a space program, obviously, but no.
He's one of us.
No, he's literally on a racetrack surrounded by a bunch of idiots. Yeah.
Well, it's also like the oldest thing in the world too, because steam power, going back to steam engines and ships, whatever. But the Stanley Steamer,
the Stanley Steamer, absolutely.
Right.
We have a point of interest locally here, Graham, that the very first cross country race in the United States, or the first person to cross from California to, I believe, New York City, it was a Stanley Steamer versus a Winton. And the Winton actually beat them by just a few hours. It was took them a week to cross the country, whatever. But the Wintons were made in a factory not 5 miles from where we're sitting right now.
Yep.
So, but then obviously,
well, the Stanley Steamers were popular in the UK. They were an international brand, and I remember going to a traction engine rally with my family, and in the arena they had a big log, almost like a half a tree, just in the middle, and they invited anyone to bring the road car, and anyone who could put the wheel on top of the tree, the log, would get £50 or some,
Okay.
Nobody could do it. It was all revs and digging holes, and it was just terrible. And this Stanley Steamer came up, and he just cracked the demand valve and got out, and this thing just climbed up and but turned the demand valve off when his wheel was on the top of the log and went, I claim my money.
Love it.
And that's it. It's not about horsepower, it's about torque.
Yeah, it is.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah.
It's just amazing. It's really, when Steve told me, when he said, oh yeah, you got to see this is out of control. My first question was, are we just running on thrust here, or are we trying to turn some sort of like the world's most complicated gearbox? And I was like, oh, this is in thrust we trust. Like, this is just pure thrust. It's so cool. As soon as you start putting any gearbox or any transmission or thoughts about it, your losses are, that's it. You've lost the efficiency. We're about 83% efficient. Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah.
So
at best, an internal combustion engine, I think some of the F1 claimed that they were getting 50%, but of course it's unusable.
Well, I think, and you'd have to hold the record for being the greenest drag racer, because most drag racing is detrimental. Like, we're literally at Summit, we're doing whole programs now trying to show that you can make racing engines kind of clean. But like in your case, you can't get any cleaner than what you're doing.
Well, you just got to hide the big Chevy that pulls it off.
And how much fuel do you burn to heat that water in the tank too, in the pressure vessel?
It's about four gallons.
Okay, so it's still pretty efficient. Pretty green.
4 gallons a run.
Okay. Have you ever been able to cook anything off of it, like some clams or something?
Some vegetables.
We did a Cornish pasty once.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, but like we were talking about in the fall, we race right until October, and we like celebrate Guy Fawkes Night and big fireworks meetings, and there's a meeting called Flame and Thunder at Santa Pod, and it's a bit like all the show vehicles come out and they run the jets in the dark, and it's brilliant, and we always have lots of friends come around the awning because it's so warm, because we've got a burner going for 4 hours.
Yes, you do.
Everybody wants to be your friend.
Yeah. Guys are walking up with ice cold bratwursts and just holding them.
Well, at the Euro finals last year, we have a big radiator because the firebox is water cooled, and we have water pumps that pump water around. And we've got a big radiator which got fans behind, and it just blows the hot air through it. And the team pitted next to us were from Sweden, and I sort of know him, nice bloke. Per Bengtson with the Super Twin, the Beast. In fact, I think he brought it over to the States, and Tommy Grimes rode it, the Super Twin. And they said, would you mind at all if we put all our oil cans in front of your hot air, because so we can pre-warm the oil? I went, yeah, just help yourself. Yeah. The next thing, they're drying towels on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's what I like about sort of drag racing and that straight line community, because things like that, in circuit racing just would never happen.
Watch those Swedes; they'll be building a sauna out of it.
Yeah, they will.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because you think about you were just talking about the Beast. That's a 5-second bike. You're right there. I mean, your numbers are. You've got to be really, for lack of a better term, there's a lot of guys that are running top fuel that would be thrilled to have your lap times. They'd be thrilled to do your quarter. Yeah.
We're looking. Eric Tabou made a superb job. He ran a 497 powering to around about 1,000 foot with his peroxide motor, and that will take some beating. But I think we've got the ability to at least equal it. It's just we know what potential we've got. We can run easily into the low fives, which I'll be quite happy with. But a 4 would be the icing on the cake, really. But if we can run, we've run a 5.8 coasting 1,000 foot. So yeah, we took the bike to Dragstalgia. We were invited by Santa Pod to run at the end of the session on Friday, so they could see what sort of a mess I'd make of the start line with all the water. and we agreed that we'd run it right at the very end, so they could do an assessment. And we'd never run a quarter mile. We'd only ever run eighths. Mm-hmm. And at the time we were running about 3:40s, weren't we, or something, so it's still really quick. Yeah. But we'd no idea, with the coasting and the first time out we ran a 6.7.
Yeah. And wow, that is a hell of a first run.
Yeah, and we put it on display in the Gala marquee as arranged. And when we came on the Sunday evening to pick it up, there's a really established guy who's cut his teeth with nitro funny cars, and he's got a cackle car now because he's getting on and he's still involved. And he very well respected guy, and he said, which one's Graham? And Bill, one of the crew members, said, oh, this is Graham. He said, can I shake you by the hand? I went, yeah, of course. He said, I saw that run last night and it was phenomenal. I didn't know what to expect, but that was phenomenal. He said, 670. He said, and you were out of power real early. I went, oh yeah, we coasted, really. He said, I'll tell you something now. He said, people have been coming here and some people have spent millions of pounds, and I mean millions of pounds, to try run a 6 and failed. And you've come along and first run, you ran a 6 just using water. You're taking the piss. I said, well, not really, because that's just what we do.
Right.
But, this is what we're doing. It's completely different. And, it's a wake-up call.
Can you do me a favor, Graham? When you do your testing and stuff, can you send me an email and let us know how things went so we can update everybody?
Yeah, we'd love to. We'd really love to follow up.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man.
Yeah, you just created.
No I'm invested now. Now I need to know what's going on.
Yeah, you just got like 10,000 more stalkers.
Right.
I don't think we've got that many T-shirts.
That's okay. Neither do we. We send out tiki mugs.
I don't know how much social media you do. Is there anything or any place where people should go to look at you or do anything like that?
Yeah, I've got a website which is www.force-of-nature.com.
So force of nature with hyphens in between it. Right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
you can also find them on
energy drinks up there.
Yeah.
and then you can, from there, you can see the dates, where we're going. There's a little bit of background about who we are, what we do. And also there's a link to the Facebook page where we're updating it, every 3-4 days.
So I also just noticed something that makes Graham doubly extra awesome, and that is that we share a birthday. June 25th.
Yay. That's right. Yeah. Only the best.
That's right.
Sean was born in 43, so he...
Right. And what's funny is as I'm going through the photographs on your Facebook, I'm sitting here and I'm looking, and Diane is sewing all your heat insulating material with Kevlar thread on a tabletop sewing machine.
Love it.
And she's doing all your insulation for your tanks and everything. Like,
truly
again,
bespoke.
Again,
yeah.
NASA pays people a lot of money to do that, Diane. So if you're ever ready, this is all
to monetize.
Yeah, this is all very, very high end stuff that that we wouldn't expect to find in motorcycle drag racing.
And I think you're really showing DIY as a thing.
Yeah,
at an exceptional level with enough brain power behind it.
I mean, look at this.
No, I had it up.
I mean, the silver sausage.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, the silver sausage that they've got. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm just like, well, that's no shortage of man hours.
Look at the machining. Look at the machining on the flanges and stuff.
Yeah, they would normally have 40 or 50 nerds in there sewing that. So well done, you guys.
I'm just imagining a giant buttered bacon sandwich in there.
Like helping it through the other side because it was so big and heavy to machine.
Oh,
my word.
Again, I would look at that job and I would fully expect that job was done by some space agency. Well done, Diane. Good job.
Thank you.
That's just amazing. That's fantastic.
I was a tailoress at one time.
That's so cool.
Trust me, there's never a dull moment in the Sykes family.
Clearly
I can't imagine.
Believe it.
Yeah. That is just fantastic. It is so, so cool. You guys, it's been an absolute honor having you guys on the show.
This was a really good podcast.
You know what?
Interesting, yeah.
If you don't mind, I'm going to send you an email. Maybe after the season, we can get you on again and we'll have an update on how your season went this year. And the new
that would be really good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wrap up.
Very cool.
Great.
Man, thank you so much for coming on. I knew when we talked a little bit and messaged each other that we're going to get on just fine. But this turned out... I think if you're ever in the States, you're going to have to give us a call and come and hang out for a little while.
Right.
There's every possibility of that. Yeah.
And we'll come and see you. Yeah. No matter where it is you're racing, we'll make a special trip.
Also, I'm going to email you, but if you got a promo package or anything, send it to me. I might be able to drop that off at some Summit guys. Because if you're running the tires and stuff, I know that's something that they might be interested in. So definitely send me that information.
That's lovely. Thank you very much. Yeah. And lovely to meet you guys.
All right. Thank
Cheers.
you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Man, wow. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. That was so much fun. Everything he's done, the cottage industry, but then you're looking at you guys, this is insane. The build quality is just, this guy's too smart to be on a motorcycle.
So here's the thing. I did not know that he designed and built. I mean, I knew he worked on the bike, but I didn't know that he designed everything. That made this so much better.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I love working at Summit, but we go to these shows and you see an amazing hot rod and you're like, so what did you put into this thing?
Yeah.
Well, I wrote a check and I
bought
picked the
this.
color.
Yeah.
And it makes me mad. This guy, he's the real deal, 100%.
Yeah, it's crazy when you look at the amount of craftsmanship and when you look at also the science, because that's well beyond my comprehension.
But then he also talks about making transmissions for other bikes. I mean, this guy's just an engineering genius.
Clearly, yeah. He's thank God he's on.
But
our
I don't
team.
know that he's actually an engineer. I mean, he said
that was his background.
Oh, he's an engineer. Okay, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, that's definitely what he's up to.
John was taking notes. He's like, if I put one of those valves at the shit plant, let build up pressure.
Right.
Yeah. We actually have those valves there. They're butterfly valves for the air handlers and stuff like that.
Well, no, he wasn't using butterfly valves.
Originally he was.
Yeah,
right.
That,
oh my God, Tom talks. Everybody was worried that Tom died.
Oh yeah,
Tom
died.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. You three had all the questions.
Well,
and I wasn't going to interrupt. You
that's
guys,
cool.
This was a great guy to have on. And you didn't need any comments from this peanut gallery.
Yeah.
You had enough in the chat section.
So what we learned is Tom wasn't drinking tonight.
Oh, okay.
Actually, Tom is not drinking tonight.
Yeah, that was super cool, man. I had a blast having him.
Seems like
on.
a really good people. I mean,
he does. The two of those seem like they are absolutely high energy and fighting the good fight out there. I mean,
Having fun.
Having a blast.
Yeah.
And
so cool.
Literally having a blast.
Having a blast.
Well, and his wife said, she goes, I kind of wanted to race. So she not only is she supportive, but she's involved. She's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, seriously, she's got her hands in it.
Yeah.
And his networking too. He wasn't just name dropping people, but he knows like the who's who of anybody that can go fast in a straight line in England and most of Europe. It sounds.
I think that's fantastic,
and even reaching to the United States.
Right.
Well, he's got speed on his side. When you're the fastest guy, or people, you're going to know people.
Yeah. So I've heard they're going really fast on these here motorcycles. Oh, really? I'm going to do it with steam. Yeah. You win. That's it. Yeah. Until somebody figures out a way to do it in some other non-traditional, method. Like rubber band powered or something.
But you know what I've noticed now?
That shit came in my mind when I was thinking like unconventional ways.
Well, there's only one thing that's going to work faster than this.
Yeah,
he's going to have to figure out maglev.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But here's the weird thing: every time at Summit, I meet like we sponsored Clay Milligan, so I got to meet Clay Milligan and all these guys. All the dudes that go 3 seconds are usually the calmest, nicest guys. Oh. They're like, "Yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, I go like 3 seconds." But then you talk to a guy that's trying to do 12s. He's like,
oh, believe me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Spent a lot of guys talking to 10-second cars, 10-second cars and 10-second bikes. And you're like, yeah, that's 10.487. Yeah, okay, that's cool. And then you meet him at the track and you're like, okay, yeah, 10.487. Oh, yeah, it was a bad night. Best I could do was an 11.8. Best I could do was a 12.3. And you're like, wait, I thought you had a 10-second bike, right? Oh, well, no, I've done that before. I've done 10-second before. I've had a 10-second bike before. I'm like,
But here's the thing that people don't understand.
Was anybody around other than your girlfriend from Canada?
Right. And the thing that people don't understand, if you've never drag raced or got seriously into it, so like I got into the import scene drag racing back in the day. I put all this money, B18C, turbo, everything into the CRX and it would do 12s.
Right.
And then to get it to go 11s cost me about $18,000 just to go down that 1 second. And then to get into 10s, I couldn't afford to even think about getting into 10s with a car like that. Oh. So like when you're even with motorcycles, like if you have a fast bike, you think of a Hayabusa or something. When you see these bikes doing this shit on the drag strip and they're like 5 seconds faster than what your bike is, that costs $100,000 to get to that 5 seconds faster. Like it's so exponential, it's insane.
Yeah, it really is. It's one of those games where if you latch into it, then you will be broke. You will, like the second you're like, I'm really going to do this, because if you go there, if you roll up on track day, if you roll up on Wednesday night grudge night, and you make your first run, and you've pulled a beautiful, delicious 11-second run on your Hayabusa or ZX 1400, stock bike. And you've done a really, really good run. You're fairly decent at the tree. Your reaction time is good. Well, the only thing is somebody's going to pat you on the back and say, damn, that was really good for your first run. Right. You're done. You're fucked. You're fucked. That's all your money. Yeah. That is just it. That guy tapping you on the back and saying, that was really great for your first run. You show a lot of promise. It's the worst thing you can ever tell a guy. You might as well just take the food away from his children. Right. Because he's going to spend all of his money to get a pat on the back again.
Chasing the dragon.
Absolutely.
Guy just got back to me. I can only get him down to 5,500 on the bike I was going to.
Oh, on the bike for tonight's homework.
Let's go around the table. Everybody gets a minute.
Yeah, right. Well, go ahead.
Actually, before that, somebody has asked who our other special guest is this evening. Because they don't recognize who the man is.
Yeah, the new guy.
Oh, yeah, we got this young guy. So we found this dude hanging around the fire station.
That's right.
This is Sneet. It's Pete's brother.
Pete's little brother. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Next week, the beard's going to be here by itself.
Pete 2 Electric Boogaloo.
My beard is in my garbage can in my garage. Yeah. That's where I cut it off yesterday. So if anybody wants, I can bring it in.
Oh my God.
Look at that baby face. Go ahead and smile on the camera over there.
Isn't there like a Beards for Kids organization?
I pity that little bastard.
He had to buy a new helmet because nothing fit anymore.
All the little kids that are going through chemotherapy and lose their beards.
Some kid comes out with a straight white hair.
It's like Albert Einstein.
It looks like a troll doll. It's Pete's face upside down.
Yeah. Fuck. No, you said new helmet, and that's kind of one of the things that prompted me to cut. Riding season's coming up, and the the beard was getting caught in the zipper of my jacket and the clasp of my helmet, and it was a pain in the
Couldn't
ass.
handle the neck heat.
I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad you kind of took it off. It was getting a little uncomfortable.
Hey,
for me.
Pete.
Like that's a lot of beard.
Yeah,
he'd gone full
that's
wizard.
A lot of beard.
I've cut my dick in my zipper a couple times. I still haven't cut that thing off.
Wow.
I mean, by all means, let's if you want to grow it back a little bit or something. But it was getting to be like ZZ Top level.
It was good. ZZ Top for real.
Yeah.
$5 member Travis Parsons. Thank you, Travis. Very much appreciate it.
The Travis Parsons Project.
Travis Parsons Project. Christopher Morgan, new Christopher Morgan. Thank you so much. Also in at the $5 level. Ryan Hegdahl, he took a time out. But he's back, my friends, and he's better than ever at the fucking legend level. Yes, fucking legend, Ryan Hegdahl.
Fucking legend.
Amen. Fucking legend.
Thank you, Ryan.
Super cool.
Thank you.
Interesting. Little bit of hate mail. Colby Neely. Good afternoon, fellas. Longtime listener, second time caller. I sent you the old ass screen print of Tanukis fishing with their balls a while back, and was absolutely delighted to see your reactions aired on the podcast. I know it's been quite a few podcasts since anyone had talked about a Coleman mini bike. Or Liza's wretched sidecar mini bike.
Okay.
But I've attached some pictures of my latest project. I thought you guys might get a kick out of it. The sidecar frame is custom fabricated. The tub is an old radio flyer wagon and assorted bullshit from around the house. The whole rig can be detached from the bike in less than a minute. It slides into square tubing I welded to the bottom of the bike and is held in by a pair of pins. My driveway is long as shit, and I hate carrying the garbage trash can at the end of the road, so I spent all of my lunch breaks at work for a month crafting this contraption to make it a more bearable chore. I listen to the podcast every week. I have a 4-hour trip every other weekend, and you guys really make the time droning along the interstate more bearable. Thanks for what you do, Colby Neely. P.S. One day I will send you a bottle of liquor to make up for not being a patron. I got 5 kids constantly needing money for one thing or another at school, so my spare money always seems to get spent for me.
You might want to keep that liquor for yourself.
So I'm going to go and throw some pictures up here if Sleepy wants to throw them up to the folks at home. So here's the business end of it.
I like it.
Yeah, and it's done. I mean,
so that was my idea a couple years ago. I wanted to do that to an FT500. Just put a receiver bolted under to the frame. And then I was going to use a side rack off the back with a wheel on it, and then you can put it on, take it off.
Yes.
And it looks like he's making it work.
It's making it work. Oh, I love it. I especially love his speed-rated backwards gas tank. That's very sexy. Yeah, very cool build. I totally approve of the Coleman.
I like the racing stripes.
The Colemanosity of that whole situation.
Well, I mean, that's been the whole thing, is that we've just gotten so used to having them when we camp.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a great idea, though.
And then my aborted project is still holding up the corner.
Look at that.
That sidecar didn't fold in half.
No, that sidecar didn't fold in half. Yeah. Because
he's not trying hard enough.
I just got to move the trash barrels.
Is to put a drunk Pete on top of it.
Oh,
not
hell
this Pete, the other Pete.
So, C. McHagan, we've worked with him before. He's one of our podcast people. He sent us an adorable picture of his rig, which appears to be a 1959 Lambretta.
Ooh.
And the best I can say is, holy fuck balls, Batman. Look at this Lambretta.
My word.
1959. It's got. I see the signature. I believe it's Keith Moon on the side of it. Maybe John Entwistle's under that. So we've got
his face right there.
Yeah,
it's like leopard print.
We've got the Who,
and shiny blue. And
we've got the Union Jack red and blue. We've got at least 6 air horns on the front, and what I can best describe as train lights.
I mean, there's got to be a fusion generator under that.
Had to be, absolutely had to be. This Lambretta is mod as fuck.
Looks like a Pakistani bus.
It does.
It also looks like it took a layover in Atlantic City.
Well, and it's got the what do they call that? Stabilo, the one wheel trailer.
Oh, the PAV.
The PAV. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's got the PAV one wheel trailer on the back. Yeah, this is quite a series too.
Yeah.
Damn, son. Damn. All right. Well appreciated there. Dig that shit. Just again, you guys, man, I love it. Just keep sending them.
What's the
love seeing this shit?
Well, I was going to say, no, that's not necessarily a project, but the dude from a couple weeks ago that had the website about hosting projects.
Oh, we'll have to look at it.
Oh, yeah. I got 4 of them coming up. I should put on there.
Woohoo. Yeah. Hey, so BRC Bender, He goes, "Hey fuckers, I was doing a hog jog. I don't know what that is.
Sean?
That's what I call it when I run around the backyard naked.
Yeah. I was doing a hog jog in my neighborhood and passing by the house of the dude who works on stuff. I stopped immediately. We haven't met, but I check your place out every time I pass by. What and how is this most beautiful of death bikes? The dude began to tell me about the engine. It's a Chrysler. That got me on my knees and looking more closely. Hog jog on his knees.
The guy who does stuff.
He goes, this thing was a piece of shit $50 garage find. He suspects it was built for drag racing and had been to the salt flats. He is super interested if this was some kind of known brand or just some alcoholic builders going crazy. I told him I knew some dudes that might know something. They were in Ohio and have global village idiot type knowledge about things with wheels that make noise.
That's the highest bit of praise we've ever received.
That is a bumper sticker right there.
So Bender says, it's got a jack shaft drive, changeable gearing, a cam bolt on the gear swing arm. And he goes, you assholes ever seen anything like this? Well, it was made by a company. A kit must have been sold for it somewhere. So I'm going to pull up the pictures because this mini bike is something to be observed. Yes, it does have a jack shaft running under the motor. It is a Chrysler motor. That's legit. It has suspension at the fore and the aft on a like Earl's type fork.
Of
on
all
the
the
front.
times for Greg not to
I
be
know,
there.
I was about to say.
Would that be like a Chrysler Snow Runner motor?
I believe it is, and you look, and there is Chrysler nomenclature on the motor. So it's a 2-cycle industrial engine by Chrysler Outboard Corporation. I did look these up, and they came in, I believe, a 5 horsepower and an 8 horsepower. But that's what they were, and they did in fact have a Chrysler. I think they might have called them Moto Bees, so it was a kit you could buy, and
I remember hearing that name.
Yeah, Motor Bee. So that's what they were. Super cool, and that is a real thing. So while you were out having your
hog jog and got down on your knees.
Yeah,
hog jog and getting on your knees.
I got down on your knees for the hog jog. Huh? Yeah. So that's fucking cool as hell. Just thought, man, I appreciate that shit, Bender. I love that. That's badass. So super cool. That's the end of our hate mail for today. Our mission was to provide the podcast with a $5,000 motorcycle. Who did it? Anyone?
I did.
Anyone to fess up? Okay, Pete, what's your $5,000 motorcycle?
Suzuki V-Strom.
Oh.
And I would go with an XT version if I could find it. It could be had for $5,000.
Oh, yeah.
That's a dual motorcycle. Mm-hmm. You can ride it. You can tour on it. I'm talking probably a 650. I don't know if you're going to get into a bigger one for $5,000. You could probably find an older one with high miles for $5,000, but I'd go with the 650. Mm-hmm. You can tour on that thing.
Oh, yeah.
You can light off-road it. I mean, you're not going to be like really hardcore off-roading it. But it's a dual. It's a trusted, proven platform, strong aftermarket, cheap to own, maintain, acquire.
They've been fuel injected forever.
Fuel injected, yeah,
Right?
for sure. Fuel injected. You can get. They got traction control. They got ABS, everything.
Yeah, that's a really good place to spend $5,000. That is a fantastic place to spend $5,000. Anybody else? Next.
I got a 2011 Harley Davidson Sportster XR 1200 right around the corner from my house in Lakewood. He's asking $6,500, but he said he'll take $5,500.
Oh, you're.
I got him down to $55,000. I think if I show up with $5,000 cash, I'm walking away with it. It does have about 20,000 miles on it, but it looks like it was meticulously.
Which year
I
is it?
texted it. It's a 2011.
Oh, and that's a brand new, like a relatively new bike.
It's the black one, black on black, has inverted forks.
But this is an XR 1200, so this is when they were very sporty looking. Mm-hmm. If anybody wants to throw the picture up, this is their Cafe Racer upside down forks.
That's the closest they got to an XLCR.
It sure is
in 100 years.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
So I mean, I would never really.
I wouldn't kick that bike out of bed,
but I like it.
I'm a little upset it's not the orange and white, but
yeah, I dig it. No, I think that's sexy. Chris Smith, what do you got?
I came up with a used 2014 Kawasaki Vaccaro 1700.
You got the Vaccaro,
and it's $4,997, so just under $5,000.
Wow!
And it's down in Florida, but for a 1700cc Kawasaki,
right? Oh, this is a big deal.
He's got 33,800 miles on it, which is not bad at all.
Sleepy, pull this picture up because I found one closer in Pittsburgh. So here's a 14 Vaccaro, right?
How much?
$4,000.
Smith is on his way.
There you go.
Yeah, you may be a little concerned about the 54,000 original miles.
Wait, go back to the back. I
Yeah.
think Graham did the pipes.
Wait a second.
That seat's
Oh
got,
shit! Yeah,
that seat's got some miles on it.
that has got that's steam powered, right? So yeah, this one I just found $4,000. It's a 2014, and he says moving pretty soon. Have no room for it. Runs great, very comfortable. Only thing I've ever done with the bike is put on a new exhaust. All right.
Obviously.
Yeah, those
obviously,
taken out of it.
obviously.
He also had to expand the garage to
He put the new exhaust.
in it.
He put the new exhaust on over the old exhaust.
New bike on the way, must go.
But I will say it's got 54,000 miles on it, but I don't think that's going to be a problem for this 1700cc engine. So fuck, man. Yeah, that's cool.
And then the other one I found was a 2016 BMW R1200 RT in Cleveland
it's
for
in my shop.
$5,000.
I was like, yay! I know that is a good pick though, because that bike is probably definitely.
It hasn't been listed yet. It probably won't be listed
I was gonna say,
at
somebody
that
in the
price.
Facebook chat was talking about. Was like, yeah, dude, you just buy that. He's
Right,
Like,
well-
when's it going to be listed? I said,
Well, you're gonna have to let me play with it for a while first.
Right.
Right. Okay. That's the Vaccaro's solid.
So this is insane. Like, I can't believe that these got this cheap.
So what
But
is
you
it?
said the perfect bike for me, and I like to do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I got a 2015 Honda CBX 500, $3,500.
What?
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think
Is
that
it
was
the red
actually
and,
one of
the
my
red and black
thoughts.
one?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't have a Honda Raccoon.
Well, I do want the Honda
Raccoon.
Raccoon. I said that.
So yeah, you're right. So this is a 2015. So like this is kind of what I'm kind of getting into about this $5,000 zone.
Oh wow.
So for $3,500, we know the CBX 500 is a solid bike. It's a solid machine.
I was looking for the Rally Raid version, but you got about $6,000 only to get the Rally Raid version. So for an extra G, if we could have extended the challenge to a G,
that's
then you
not
could get the
spirit of
Rally
challenge,
Raid thing.
right?
I know, but still, this is an insane bike.
I do love that this guy has spikes on his front fender.
Well, you need that.
And the seller is named Alicia Stillwagon, although I don't know if Alicia did this custom work herself. But it is, yeah. So that is a legit bike, CB500X, $3,500, coming in well the hell under budget.
Well, I was going to farkle with the rest of the money.
You can totally farkle with the rest of the money. Absolutely. Who else has got one?
I gotcha.
Okay, what do you got, Tom?
So you're going to love it.
Yep.
It's in Medina.
Okay.
2022 V7 Stone.
What's that?
Moto Guzzi V7 Stone.
Is it a V7 Stone?
And it's in the tinny colors, the green and silver.
It is.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Now he's a little high. He's a little high.
He's
at
a little at 5,500
but
though.
it's been up for 6 months.
You can get him down.
Oh, that is a good looking
3,200 miles. Oh, this is a sore dick deal. Yeah, and that's the best color.
I was
ever.
thinking about what I've ridden, what I'd like to ride, how I like to ride, and my needs for right now. You put some bags on that thing and a little bit of windscreen, I'm good to go.
That is the right color too.
And sunscreen, Tom. Don't forget
And
the
some
sunscreen.
Sunscreen. Yeah,
I gotta watch out for that.
That is the right
But
color.
that is that V11 tinny color, and I think the new Mandello has that
It
too,
does.
with the green and
Yeah.
silver.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
And I think it looks like, is that the only year they did that?
It was meant to be for the 100th anniversary bikes, but like usual, once they start building them, they don't stop. So it is technically a 100th anniversary bike, even though it's 1 year too late. Wow, that is fantastic! What a deal for $5,500.
And the only other bikes I could find, there are two of them right now in the area, was a Deauville. There are two Deauvilles.
Yeah, I saw two Deauvilles
now.
up right now,
and I was like, oh, tough. And they're only 35.
Those are cheap. But I would tell you what, for the newness and the ABS and the traction control and all the good shit, this has everything good, and it's got the alloy wheels. Yep. Yeah, this is a really nice bike for $5,500. Damn straight. Okay, who else wants to throw one up?
Well, so before this was even prompted, I had sent Sleepy randomly the other day a Goldwing 20th anniversary edition.
What?
And I let him know that bike was bigger than his Mercedes.
I know.
So would this be a 1995 Goldwing?
I believe it was, yeah.
With all the carburetors and impossible plastic.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so I reminded him that they do have carburetors that you
know.
can't actually get to, and the bike is bigger than his Mercedes.
Right.
Was it the blue one?
It was in Germantown.
Oh, it was in Germantown.
Yeah. I think
it is funny because I did pull just that up, and
it was $1,500.
Is 3 purple ones came up.
Yeah.
Right. So 3 purple ones right out there. Shoot, 3 purple ones. Yeah. Yeah. There's
I'd like to make a comment.
That's too many problems for you,
Sean, you don't plan to actually get a small motorcycle for your first motorcycle, do you? Everything you've been kind of looking at is like,
I know.
big. You like them big, don't you?
What can I say?
It sounds like a big.
Size queen.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the problem when you're slamming a chubby is you might have to pick them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Right.
When he's on his hog jog down on
rather have
my hog jog.
Wouldn't you rather have more of a spinner first motorcycle?
When you're a fucking wet spot on the mattress, the sidewalk, because this bike fell on you. Whoa. Yeah, that's a big fucking bike, man.
I know.
Yeah, that's a big bike.
To be fair, that
big
is
bike
the
standards.
Oh yeah. That would be the polar opposite end, right?
Yes,
I understand what that is.
Yeah, it could fit your Vespa in the glove box.
Exactly. I know.
It's a fucking huge
part of
bike.
it is that I love the cartoony aspect.
Oh,
of
yeah.
it, right. Yeah. That would be part of the thing.
Yeah.
Sean, have you met the PC 800X?
Yes.
Do you
I know where you can get one.
Yeah.
Do you like Tupperware? Do you like Spartans?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
How do you like Gladiator movies?
Oh, is that the?
God.
Oh, that's the anniversary one, though. I see.
Which
up
one?
there.
That's brand new.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's.
But I do love
27 large. Yeah.
that gold.
Oh, golden brown.
Golden brown.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Like butter.
Who else has got one?
Well, for some reason, I thought you guys were talking about new bikes.
Oh,
well, let's see.
Well, you got 5. You can spend it how you like, buddy.
That's $5,000.
Yeah.
Yep. If you can find a new bike, it's all you, dude.
The thing I discovered is if you look at lists of new bikes for under $5,000, all of them that they show, except for one, are now over $5,000.
Oh.
Because the price has gone up.
Oh. Okay.
The only one that's on every list that's under $5,000 is the Graham.
Oh,
I was going to say a Honda Moto.
They have a stop sale, so
Yeah.
you can't even buy a Grom right now.
Correct. Right.
With
Yeah.
the TNT, is that?
I would probably choose the Kawasaki KLX 230 for a new bike in the 5,000 range.
The KLX, I think that the KLX would probably be a really good move for that $5,000 price point. And that is getting a lot of bike for your money. Yeah, I think that's actually smart fucking money. Nothing wrong with that. I found the biggest bike that I could get for $5,000.
Bigger than a Goldwing.
Yeah, I decided to just go with
He found a boss sauce.
a 2.3 liter Triumph Rocket 3.
Okay.
Nice.
2,300 sizzles.
Wow.
145 horsepower. Okay. And he would be willing to trade it for a muscle car of some sort. That's what he says. Of course he would.
With a smaller engine.
But if you look at the photographs of this fucking bike, this is that first generation, and they are comical. They are hilarious.
It literally is
in their
comical
girthitude,
thing,
right?
Is there a bike behind that radiator?
There is. There is, yeah. The radiator pushes all the atoms out of the way so the motorcycle can fit through.
Is that a two-headed dog or something?
By the way, that dog, I couldn't tell which way the dog was pointed.
Is it coming or going?
I couldn't tell if it was coming or going. It's a fucking ugly dog.
Hey, look at the headlights on that thing, though, too.
Oh, yeah. There is all of the twin headlights on this fucking cocksucker. This bike is ridiculous. I have not ridden one of the new ones yet. I really want to because I've heard they're fantastic.
Yeah, the new ones are pretty cool.
But this is not one of those.
No.
This is not. But what this is this is a 2,300cc car motor hidden in a motorcycle. But Triumph, though, I've read everything about Triumph doing this build. Triumph had so much riding on this bike and this whole ridiculous idea of putting a Cosworth car engine in this motorcycle that Triumph intentionally overbuilt every single piece or part of it. They made sure that when this bike came out, none of it was ever going to break. So it was like the first generation of Priuses. They just overbuilt the living shit out of them because they didn't want it to hurt the reputation of the company. And Triumph knew by doing something bonkers like this. Crackers. Yeah. This is 2,300 cc's is an absurd number of cc's, according to anybody's motorcycle.
For 3 pistons.
Right.
For 3 giant fucking pistons, right. So this is a cuckoo go nuts bike. Now, the problem was when I looked for $5,000, I had to take my pick between 2 of them. Which tells you where the value is of a Rocket 3 right now, I literally had to take my pick between 2 of them, and neither one of them had more than 15,000 miles on it.
You know what's funny? So you picked this bike,
Yeah.
and right now in the young boy sport bike influencer YouTube scene,
okay,
they've run out of sport bikes.
Oh.
Because they've all bought the Panigale V4s.
Yeah.
So our local boy here in Cleveland shirtless wonder guy. He bought a brand new Rocket 3 because it's fast.
Oh.
And so he's on it riding it and talking about how weird it is because it's not a sport bike.
No.
And I'm like, wow, they really hit that. Like they've done all the big sport bikes.
They've circled back.
Yeah, now they're getting down to this stuff.
So I did find this one, if you want to throw the picture up, again, one owner bike, but this one's 100% meticulously maintained.
And that one also looks a lot better than the black one.
It sure does.
In that color.
Yeah, and this one, if you're going to spend $5,000 and you want to buy a 2.3 liter car motorcycle, I would say this is the one to buy.
Well, that
because
windshield helps it so much.
It does.
Yeah.
And
plus, this guy took a picture of it outside in the sunlight, not in like a dingy garage with
Right.
a two-headed dog.
Well, and here's the thing. This one doesn't smell like cigarettes.
Right. So this one looks like it was impeccably maintained. Even like up in the testicular region, the undercarriage of the bike, it's perfectly clean. So yeah, for fucking and
kudos on the test, whatever the fuck you said to Graham. That was the perfect line for
Yeah.
it. What did you say?
testicular circumference?
Yeah, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Silver medal in testicular circumference.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, if I can make the guest laugh,
You did
my
good.
work here is done. But the reason I came up with this is I had a customer coming into my shop, and my customer was literally saying, I want to buy a motorcycle. I have a $5,000 hard limit on buying a motorcycle. And I was like, yeah, we can do that. In fact, in the showroom here, I've got about 5 or 6 motorcycles that are all under $5,000. And let me show you what they are. And you get a BMW 310 there.
Behind door number 1.
Right. We have quite a few to pick from, and they're all good motorcycles. And what I thought was really funny was I was just like, so tell me what you want for this $5,000. And the weird thing was he couldn't describe it to me.
Well, you got to ask him too. Where do you envision yourself riding?
That was the whole thing.
In the woods, on the highway, the open road,
Grocery store.
We have
around town.
I've got a battle-proven way that I ask people questions. Within 5 minutes, I'll know how serious you are about buying a motorcycle. What I learned about this guy was he was serious about spending $5,000. He wasn't exactly sure what he was going to spend it on. He knew it had to be a motorcycle, and he knew it had to be $5,000. So right here at this table, what I thought would happen, which did happen, 5 very, very different motorcycles came up. Nobody here doubled up on each other.
Interestingly enough, I thought of the CB500X. And Tom, what did you say? Oh, the V7.
V7.
I thought of a Moto Guzzi also.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just so much bike for your money. It's ridiculous.
Well, your clarification of the homework is what.
Yeah.
So when you first said it, that's when I asked, "Is this a bike for us personally, or for just the ultimate bike for 5,000?" When you said personally, well, that made it.
Well,
the guy who work's been looking at a KTM 390 Adventure, and he's found a couple of them. One totally farkled out for under $5,000.
I tripped over this bike, a 2013 Triumph Tiger 800 ABS. This bike comes with everything. It's got all the cool shit.
And 20,000 miles.
The bags, the windshields, 20,000. It'll last you another 20,000.
That was the one I almost picked up.
No problem. This is at a dealership, which means it was checked out before they agreed to take it in on trade. It's got the good luggage for fucking $5,000. A Triumph Tiger 800 is a great deal.
You know what? You
That
know
is a
why?
screaming
You know
deal.
why those are decent deals? I witnessed it when I was training the Orange Police Department how to fly drones.
Yeah.
All those guys, this is like whatever years ago, all the guys there got into adventure bikes, all the cops. And so 2 of them got the 1200s, and 2 of them got the 800s.
Okay.
And because of that mentality,
this is too small?
They were like, "Is that your wife's bike? Oh, you bitch!" And so like they never rode them. And the guy's like, "I got to get a bigger bike," and then they got rid of them. So like you find those bikes, they're a fantastic bike.
It's a great bike.
Yeah, don't ever let anybody tell you that it's not a good bike.
So 5,000 in today's market, I got to say, just for the folks at home, don't freak out. 5,000 buys you a hell of a lot of bike. From Chris's Vaquero, which is, I would never have even looked at a Vaquero if Chris wasn't being interested in them, right? And I've looked at them. That 1700 motor is fantastic. That's a great bike.
And if you plus it's a Kawasaki.
And the transmission's going to be flawless. It's going to work great. It's never going to die. And it actually is good to look at.
And if you fall over, if you just stay on the seat, you don't get hurt. They just roll you back over and you're fine.
Up again. You're fine. Yeah, it's exactly right. So I think that everybody here came up with really, really good $5,000 bikes. So kind of keep that in mind. This is not necessarily a $25,000 game. I know that a lot of the manufacturers right now, BMW's talked about, they've had so much success last year. doing better than all the other companies. The other company got the bike count by selling cheap 400cc bikes. BMW got their count by selling $20,000+ bikes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where BMW excelled last year, was selling very, very high-end bikes.
So let me ask you, as a guy that owns a dealership, why wouldn't you go out and scrub around and pick up a bunch of these bikes and have these high-quality bikes on your floor for the folks that walk in and say, hey, I'm looking for something like that, and you say, well, I got 17 of them here. Whatever.
Margin.
Hey, Chris, have
So
you
it
been
has
by
to-
the shop lately?
Well, it has to do with margin. So
Well, go ahead.
everything that we do, we have to be able to make a certain money on, otherwise we go out of business. So there's a formula that I have that says, if I'm going to sell a $5,000 bike, then I need to buy that bike for less than $4,000 because it's got to get past Tom. So for $4,000 plus it's got to get past Tom before we can put it on the floor. Now, if it needs 2 tires, the formula's fucked. So other people might go, Jesus Christ, you made $1,000 on a bike and you're bitching about it? Try it. Try to run a shop making $1,000 on a bike.
Well, people don't understand overhead.
We understand, right?
Yeah.
And that a lot of these bikes that, yes, to the consumer, which we call retail, to the consumer, $5,000 is an absolutely great price. But for me to buy the bike and sell it for $5,000, I got to be able to buy the bike for $3,500. So this $5,000 bike, whatever it might be, I got to buy it for $3,500 because if I pay $5,000 for it, now I'm selling it for $6,500.
Well, and what people don't realize either is like, I don't care how good you are. Like me and John went to buy that Ninja. We looked at it, whatever. We still don't know how good it is.
Correct.
You know, like that. But now if you're buying it from you, if it wasn't running or whatever when it came in, he's fucked with it, got it running. He did all the hard work, changed the rubber, all the stuff that's going to be a problem later. You've probably already done.
We have a fixed address. So we're not person to person. We're not protected by this, it's, gun show law, or I bought it out of your driveway, the zero expectation of quality. It's as is, where is. All that goes out the window when you have a fixed address. Your business's name is on the purchase,
Right.
So that you sell somebody the bike, you're selling them a 25-year-old bike. You're selling them a $2,000 Ninja. No, this is what it is. No promises. You're buying a $2,000 Ninja via con Dios, my friend. No, they're back. They're back 6 weeks later with their dad. Why did the tire pop? Well, there's three fucking screws in it, and there's no tread on it. And there's 3 screws in it. When it left here, it had tread on it, and there weren't any screws in it. Well, my son wants his money back, right? Well, that's not how this works. So I have to protect myself from that, so I have to stay away from those kinds of situations, because those things invariably will bite me in the ass. So there's this weird line, this weird operating window. If it's too cheap, if it's too maintenance intensive, if it needs too much, I can't sell it. Because then I'm adopting it for the rest of its known fucking life. Or somebody's going to tell the kid I ripped him off, and now I'm getting 1 star, or I'm getting angry mobs of villagers with pitchforks and torches outside my shop because I'm an asshole.
And I think that's why car dealers, notoriously, they take trades in, $5,000 for any trade or whatever they're running, and then they wholesale those cars out.
Absolutely.
Goes to auction.
It's not my problem.
Right.
Wholesale it away.
Yep.
And so I don't wholesale anymore. I'm just more careful about what I take in. So rather than just taking in everything and wholesaling it out like a lot of other dealers in our area, now what I'm doing is I'm just not taking it in unless I want it and I think I can liquidate it and I think I can sell it back out and make the money, make my margin.
We had a question during the thing before. It was a kid that said, hey, new rider here or whatever, right? Well, for new riders, this is I know like everybody's saying the economy is this and that, and it is, and all those things, but for used bikes right now, looking through Marketplace.
This is right here. This is a screaming lesson.
Unbelievable time for a new rider to get an amazing bike for $3,000 or $4,000.
Outside of Sean, everybody that listed a bike picked a bike that has fuel injection.
Yes.
Every single one of us picked a bike that's fuel injected.
I think if I were to go for the next, it the next generation right after?
Yeah.
That would be
You'd be good to go.
Yeah.
It is a great time to be buying used bike. You can get a lot of used bike for your money right now. Absolutely. As far as me going out and buying a whole bunch of $3,000 bikes or $4,000 bikes, it doesn't work out. Yeah, it doesn't work out. I've tried it. I've given it a shot.
I just wanted to ask the question.
It's a good question. When somebody comes in and says, yeah, I'm looking for your $5,000 bikes, we've got them. But what I'm trying to not have is I'm trying not to have a $2,500 bike, because that becomes a problem. If you're interested in Hinckley Triumphs that have carburetors, come and talk to you, boy. I got a bunch, and I'm willing to make deals. I'm willing to make deals But the trick is they can only go out my door. They can't go anywhere near Tom.
Yeah.
So the trick is
I'm not even touching mine.
No,
it's in the garage.
I'm liquidating a whole bunch of carbureted Triumphs. So if somebody wants to buy, if somebody's looking for a Triumph project bike, a Bonneville project bike, come and see me. I am seriously, I'm going to be doing some sweetheart deals.
I mean, you've even got the nicest Thunderbird 900 you've ever
I got it from
seen.
Sleepy.
From Sleepy.
Yeah.
Because he hates carbs.
Right.
Well, no, I was motivated buying something else.
But
My
the
brain
point
was
being,
locked in.
if you want to clean some carbs, if you want to have a cool motorcycle, I'll hook you up with a really, really great motorcycle, a great deal right now. It's springtime. I'd like to move some of these bikes out of my shop. They're not helping me by hanging around. So this is definitely it. Anybody got anything else?
Well, I've got some housekeeping, so don't forget to subscribe to Cleveland Moto and Moto Stories. We have some guests coming up. We're not going to talk about yet, but in the next few weeks, we got some cool stuff in the works, so we're working on that. A huge shout out and thank you to Graham.
Graham Sykes, man. Yeah, Graham and Diane.
That
awesome.
was an amazing.
Very, very cool. We loved having you on the podcast.
What's that again?
Yeah.
Please like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's how that goes. Any questions, again, clevelandmoto@gmail.com.
Oh.
Be thrilled to answer them.
And everybody that listens and things, tell somebody about the podcast.
Yeah,
Help
share
us
it.
spread some words about this stuff. Let's
Yeah.
get out there. We're going to start
Tell your
bringing some
friends.
good guests. We want more people to hear it, so let people know about it.
Cool. All right. On that, my friends, ride fast and take chances. Play us out here, Johnny Mac.
Bum, bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum, 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 ba, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum, bum, ba,
Jack, get us out of here, Sleepy. Pull the parachute.